Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Jiraiya decided that he is going to break a secret to Naruto while he trains him for the Chunin exams part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Pervert. The blonde screamed, spotting the white-haired man peeping in the hot springs. The man turned before scowling at the preteen. Stay quiet, you brat. I am doing research here. The man hissed. The blonde subtly ignored him. That isn't research. That's peeping. Naruto exclaimed in a loud voice. Somebody's peeping. Who is it? Furious voices came from below, while the man winced. There. Up in the tree, the man cursed, jumping down while glaring at the laughing blonde. He made a mad dash and hauled up the blonde on his shoulder, before scampering away from the furious women out for his blood. Hey! Put me down! The blonde wriggled in his grip, though the man's grip didn't budge. He took out Ebisu in a single strike, and he isn't even budging, even if I use chakra. You blew my cover. Now pay for your mistakes, the man said as he put down the blonde near a stream. The blonde looked up at the white-haired man with a frown, before huffing. I am not going to do anything for a pervert. The blonde retorted. The man thought for a moment, before an idea popped up in his brain. Why don't you show me your water walking? I saw that you had been failing miserably, the man said with smugness. The blonde scowled at the man, before stomping over to the bank. I can do water walking better than you can, Eroji-san, Naruto remarked before holding his hands in a ram seal. He then took an unsteady step forward, balancing himself with his improper chakra control. The man rose a brow at the sight of the blonde trying to balance on a tightrope, before beckoning the blonde to come over. Lift up your shirt, he commanded to the blonde. The blonde his eyes dangerously at the pervert man. You are worse than a pervert. He screamed accusingly. The man's eye twitched at the implication of the accusation. Naruto! You brat! I want to check your seal. And I am not a pervert. I am a super pervert. The toad sage, Jiraiya, the man exclaimed while striking a pose. Naruto wasn't sure what to say, but seeing that he was ready to look at the seal, which was messed up by a creepy-looking lady in the forest of death, he agreed. Naruto slowly lifted up his jacket, and let Jiraiya examine the seal. He watched as awe and fascination washed over Jiraiya's features, before he let loose a chuckle. Your father was a genius to design this. It can hold all the bijou together if needed, he murmured, before looking up on Naruto's shocked face. You knew my father? Naruto asked in a whisper, almost as he wasn't believing what he was hearing. Jiraiya realized the slip, and bit his tongue. His sensei was going to give him an earful after he heard this. Naruto gripped Jiraiya's shoulders tightly, trying to move him back and forth. Who was he? Tell me. Ah yes. I knew who your father was, Jiraiya said dramatically, trying to increase the suspense, though it was in an attempt to make Naruto forget. But before that, hold yourself tightly. 5 elements seal. Release. Jiraiya as his fingertips lit up with small blue chakra flames, and slammed them on Naruto's stomach. Oof. Naruto wheezed as all the air was promptly knocked out of Naruto's lungs. Damn you, Ero-sennin. You could have warned me, Naruto groaned in pain. Jiraiya's eye twitched at the nickname, but said nothing. Now try to water walk again, Jiraiya instructed the blonde. Giving an unsure glance to the spiky-haired man, Naruto again held his hands in a ram seal, and slowly walked over the water surface. Excitement lit up his eyes seeing that he didn't need to concentrate as hard as before. Letting go of the seal, he walked again slowly, before running around knowing that he wouldn't fall. Quickly enough he came back to Jiraiya, just standing on the water over the edge. Thanks for that, Ero-sennin. Stop calling me that brat. Yeah, Naruto agreed. Thought Jiraiya knew that the boy had brushed his suggestion off. So, who was my father? He asked expectantly. Jiraiya winced knowing that Naruto wouldn't let him off. Anyway, you practice water walking and increase your chakra control. I have some urgent work I need to do, Jiraiya replied, and turned away before hearing Naruto's furious shout. All of you are the same. Each and every one of you. You. Ji-chan. Kakashi-sensei. All of you. Was my father some criminal that you don't try to speak out his name? Was that the reason I was selected to hold the Kyuubi? Ji-sen always tell that they died on the night of the Kyuubi attack. And I know he lies through his teeth. Who is my father? Tell me, you bastard! Naruto screamed furiously from behind. He could feel the Kyuubi's chakra seeping around Naruto. Jiraiya winced at the words, unbridled rage curling up in his stomach. He was definitely going to have some words with his sensei. Naruto had gone as far as to assume that his father was a criminal of some kind. Stealing his resolve, he turned around. Damn the ramifications. First, your father wasn't a criminal. Scratch that. His sheet was clean. Second, before you curse your father, he loved you more than anything in this world. You should have seen him jumping up and down when your mother found out that she was pregnant. Third, what I tell you here, don't go yapping out to the people. Many villages would love to kill you, especially IWA, before you become like your father. That's the reason why only a handful people know about your father. For others you are an orphan, Jiraiya warned in a no-nonsense tone. Naruto nodded slowly. You know I run a spy network for Konoha, so I can't stay in the village for long times. I am your godfather, and I would have loved to look after you, but if anybody saw a blonde kid with me, all of them would scream bloody murder because of your father's fear," Jiraiya added, waiting for some harsh words, but felt a sense of déjà vu seeing Naruto's calm understanding face, waiting for a single slit from him. "I understand why you stayed away from me. You protected me in your own way," Naruto commented, making Jiraiya sigh in relief. "That went well. I thought you would scream at me and all," Naruto shrugged. "Why would I? You knew that I would be killed if anyone saw me with you. So you have protected me all this time, because you didn't try to contact me. I am not sure what to say about that, so I hope you understand. He was my student, and regarding your father, you know him by his name, and even read about him in your books," Jiraiya said the last part amusedly. "You taught my father?" Naruto asked in shock as Jiraiya puffed his chest and nodded proudly. "I was his Jonin sensei," Jiraiya affirmed as Naruto rubbed his chin trying to remember what he had crammed in for the Genin exams. "What of the teams you taught was the Yandames? I had read about you a bit when preparing for Genin exams because of the Yandame," Naruto remarked, shocking Jiraiya. "I am not sure to be happy or sad. He read about me because of Minato, but only a bit," Jiraiya thought, depressed. "Ah. Damn it. Did you teach any other team?" Naruto asked, making Jiraiya snort. "Nah. Only your father's team," Jiraiya replied offhandedly. Naruto's eyes widened as he gulped. "My father was on the Yandame's team?" "Whoa." Jiraiya fell flat on his face at the statement. "Didn't you read what was written about the Yandame's Genin team?" Jiraiya asked sadly. Naruto pondered over it, before remembering it. Yeah, they had written that except his sensei, his teammates had died in the Second War. He trailed off while looking at Jiraiya's smug face. "The Yan Namikaze Minato was my father?" Naruto asked in a whisper as he staggered. "Then why did he to his own son?" he asked quietly in shock. Jiraiya shrugged. "Your father and mother died taking with them the events on what happened on the night of your birth. We don't know how the Kyuubi broke free from your mother's seal. It shouldn't have happened if Minato was there," Jiraiya said sadly. "You mean someone attacked them?" "But about my mother," Naruto trailed off unsure. "Yes to both. Your mother housed the Kyuubi previously. A Jinchuriki seal is the weakest at childbirth. On that night, it was decided that your birth would take place away from village, under a barrier that would suppress the Kyuubi, if Minato failed. And bodies of the guarding ANBU had been found, either broken necks, or blasted air pipes. The only person I can think of to break through such a high-end barrier, control the Kyuubi and unleash it on Konoha, is Uchiha Madara," Jiraiya explained. "So this Madara guy attacked when I was born? Who is he?" Naruto asked in confusion. Jiraiya facepalmed at the question. "Of course, you don't know about him. He had founded Konohagakure along with the Shodai Hokage, Senju Hashirama, but he also was the first traitor from Konohagakure, as far as he went to destroy the village with the Kyuubi under his control," Jiraiya answered before being washed over by malicious chakra. He watched as Naruto's eyes turned into red slits. "I guess the Kyuubi hates Madara a lot," he added with a frown. "So, are you going to teach me?" Naruto asked after a few moments. Jiraiya rose a brow at the question. "Why would you ask that?" Jiraiya wondered out as Naruto's face fell. "I guess he won't teach me," Naruto thought sadly. "I had already warned Kakashi that I was going to steal you from him when I came back," Jiraiya remarked as Naruto's face lit up. "Now go and pack your bags. The next month, we are going to be out of the village." "Yes, Ero Sennin. Stop calling me that. I will call you Jiraiya-sensei, if you stop perving at hot springs. Damn you brat." Jiraiya muttered as Naruto disappeared in the direction of a training ground. He wants to put some training in, I guess, but at least I can dodge Sarutobi-sensei for a month. Boy, when you enter the arena in the clothes I get you, I will love the look on everybody's faces." Soon enough, Jiraiya went to buy a few clothes in the shopping district with a goal set in his mind. It was an hour after sundown, when Jiraiya invited himself in Naruto's apartment from a window. The blonde jumped, before readying a kunai as a reflex, and tried holding it near the intruder's jugular. Keyword tried, since Jiraiya was too tall for him. "Hey!" Jiraiya yelped before disarming Naruto. "Why would you do that?" Naruto averted his eyes, before going back to pack his bags. No, he wouldn't show his weakness in front of his godfather. Jiraiya's eyes narrowed at the ignorance, his instincts telling him that the boy was hiding something. "I asked you a question, Naruto," he said in a low voice. Naruto barked out a fake laugh. "Hey! You never tried to sneak up on a ninja," he replied nonchalantly. Before he could comprehend, a kunai was passed dangerously close to his ear. "Hey! Now what are you doing? You are hiding something. You can fool even Kakashi, but not me. Your mannerisms are between your mother and father when you lie too," Jiraiya stated, narrowing his eyes and pinning Naruto with a stare. He watched as the blonde gulped under the stare. "Why do you think I am lying?" Naruto asked nervously. Jiraiya's hand twitched, before his punched the wooden table with full force. Naruto yelped, before backing away from Jiraiya in fear. Jiraiya's eyes softened, seeing the fear in Naruto's eyes, gazing at him with helpless fear. "I am sorry, please don't hit me." Jiraiya's breath caught in his throat, taking in deep breaths to try and calm his chakra. He quickly advanced ahead, and hugged Naruto tightly, trying to comfort the boy. I should be the one sorry, Naruto. I didn't mean to scare you, he whispered softly as he felt Naruto's body racking with sobs. Sensei, I am leaving for now, but a month later, we are having a serious talk. I am sorry, Jiraiya-sensei. Why are you sorry? I was the one who scared you. I didn't want to look weak. You taught my father, and I know that he was fearless. Jiraiya snorted at that. Fearless? When a rumor had spread that he was cheating on your mother, you should have seen him running around the village, trying to dodge all kinds of objects from your mother, Jiraiya remarked with a smile. He felt Naruto chuckle a bit between his sobs. It's fine, Naruto. Nobody's gonna hurt you if I have anything to say about it. The pair stayed like that for a few minutes, before Jiraiya separated, handing Naruto a scroll. The boy looked at his new sensei with a confused face. Open it. It's a gift, Jiraiya instructed as Naruto nodded, before doing the same. Naruto frowned seeing a familiar seal, and pushed some chakra into it. There was a puff of smoke, before Naruto found himself holding 4 sets of a standard Konoha uniform, and 2 burnt orange flak jackets. Naruto's eyes watered seeing the new clothes, and hugged Jiraiya tightly. Thank you, Jiraiya-sensei, Naruto murmured as the man ruffled Naruto's spiky hair. Now, just take a few rations, and the new clothes. We are leaving tonight, Jiraiya remarked as Naruto nodded, and started packing the mentioned things in a backpack. Jiraiya rose a brow at the rows of stacked instant ramen, before making a note to improve his diet. Shouldn't we tell Ji-chan that we are leaving? Naruto asked unsure. Jiraiya rose a brow, before a thought made him smirk. Yes, we are. But we will write a note and leave it in your room, Jiraiya replied and handed a pen and paper to Naruto. Now write as I say. Oh, the blonde girl followed the boy seeing him return from one of the training grounds. Her sensei had ordered her to tail the boy, seeing that her brother was unusually fixated on him. For her, the boy was just an idiot who took ninja career with no seriousness. She planned to follow him just for the sake, already knowing that he wasn't a threat for their plans. Following the around the town for a few hours as he bought a few things, mostly camping material, she noted. But something she didn't miss was the way which the people were treating and gazing at him. Only a few of the villagers had greeted him with smiles. An inkling of doubt crept on the boy's identity. She planned to confirm it, but her sensing wasn't that great, and she would need the boy to stay in a confined place for a specific period of time. Soon enough, the boy walked towards the red light district, making the girl tailing him on the rooftops frown. She wasn't sure why the boy was heading towards a place where many people dared not to even step in their lives. Still she kept on walking behind the boy, masking her chakra so the boy or nobody else would sense her on the rooftops. What is he doing here? The residential district in the opposite way, she thought with a frown before noting that the boy had stopped in front of an abandoned rundown building. She watched as the boy climbed his way to the second floor, and opening a door which had a lot of things scribbled in it. Narrowing her eyes, she could make out the word demon written more than a dozen times. She gulped, realizing that her doubt was indeed correct, and the boy she had been tailing for some time was Konoha's Jinchuriki. The same like her brother. She was about to run away in fear, thinking that he was same as her brother, but she was washed over by a sad, but at the same time an overwhelmingly excited chakra. He has terrible chakra control, she noted amusedly, before hiding near one of the windows. She watched as the boy packed supplies for a trip, making her frown. I guess he is training with someone outside the village. But who? In the next few seconds, she narrowly dodged a man entering the window where she was hiding at. She waited for the man to turn around and spot her, but thankfully he had missed her. That was too close for comfort. And the amount of chakra this guy has. Who is he? She thought with a frown. Her eyes became prickly as she heard the boy's words, realizing why he had suddenly been so scared. Fearing that she would be spotted, she took off, but not before hearing the message the man had directed to write the boy. She had suppressed a snort at the explanation the man had given. On her way, she steeled her resolve. You could have been like my brother, Uzumaki Naruto. What makes you different from him? I cannot say whose upbringing was worse among you two, an orphan who is attacked by his fellow villagers, or a boy whose own father has tried to assassinate him to check his worthiness as a weapon. Would you have done the same if you were in Gaara's shoes, Uzumaki Naruto? I may be loyal to my village, but I am not cold-hearted like my father. Right now, you had that same expression my brother used to wear before he became as he was now. Your face after the man gave you the set of clothes looked like a small child receiving a gift on his birthday. I know my father will try to kill you if he hears who you are. He already messed up my brother's life forever. I won't let him do yours, she thought as she ran back to her team's allocated apartment between the shopping and residential districts. Well, you get ready while I get permission from the Hokage to practice in one of the training grounds, Baki remarked as he put on his Jonin vest. Temari ears perked up that, her lips twitching up remembering the message the white-haired man had told Naruto to write. Baki-sensei, can I do that? I want to look around the village for a bit too, Temari spoke up suddenly making Baki frown. It wasn't that hard to get that permission, just a signed paper from the Hokage to allow entry in the training grounds. I don't see a problem in that, Baki responded, frown still on his face, eyeing Temari for any deceit. She would never volunteer herself for such a things. Temari's face turned into a scowl, realizing why Baki was looking at her like that. Are you thinking that I am a traitor? Temari hissed dangerously, making Baki shake his head in rapid denial. No, Temari. It's just that you don't volunteer yourself for any work like this, Baki replied, making Temari's eye twitch. So if I am trying to do something and get a breather from what Tusama has planned, am I wrong? Temari asked in mock confusion, making Baki wince at the expression. I wasn't implying anything. You can go if you wish, Baki stammered out, knowing how dangerous it was to anger Temari. The blonde nodded in satisfaction. Good, Temari said before stomping out of the room. Quickly making her way to the Hokage Tower, she waited outside the office at the reception desk. She sighed at the queue, before taking a seat in the far corner of the room. Seeing the calm atmosphere, she assumed that nobody had visited the boy's house. How does nobody know that he hasn't been seen since morning? All ninjas are up at 5, and it's nearing 9 now. Any sane ninja would check up on within 30 minutes, Temari thought with a scowl on her face. She had an urge to pummel that silver-haired cyclops she had seen at the preliminaries. The boy was his charge, damn it, he should be the first one to realize. After 20 minutes, she had been called inside to get the signed permission from the Hokage. As soon as she entered, the Hokage smiled a little before opening a drawer and pulling out a sheet. She bowed to the village leader. Hokage-sama, she addressed with respect. The first name on the special war list. He doesn't have a Kekkai Genkai, but is rumored to be as strong as Tusama when he was just 17. You shouldn't bow to me, Temari-san. You are one of the candidates for the Godame Kazekage, as well as the eldest of the Yondame Kazekage's children, Hiruzen said as he took a drag of his pipe. I assume you are here for the permission? He asked as Temari nodded. He quickly wrote down the blank spaces in the printed paper, before handing it to Temari. I hope the villagers are treating you well, he said as the girl nodded. Seeing the expression on Temari's face, Hiruzen gestured her to speak up. Do you something to say? Temari snapped her eyes towards the old man, before framing her words carefully. I was just curious about a boy, but it seems that Konoha doesn't appreciate a sane Jinchuriki, she said emotionlessly, making Hiruzen flinch at the accusation. How do you know about that? Hiruzen asked in a dangerously low voice, crashing all of his chakra on the girl. The poor blonde started gasping for air under the pressure, looking at the Sandaime Hokage with wide eyes. Keeping his pressure for a few moments, he lifted it to make sure that the girl didn't faint. I am waiting for an answer. Temari took ragged deep breaths, before giving a tired glare to the man. His eyes hold fear for even at a sudden drop of a hat. The same expression before my brother became the cold person he is now. Save him before he loses his sanity, because even you know that you can't stop the QB, Temari answered, shocking Hiruzen with the first sentence. I see. Thank you for bringing such an important thing to light. I will see into it, Hiruzen said tightly. Temari bowed and was about to leave the office, when a glasses-wearing shinobi burst in through by breaking the door. Ebisu. What is meaning of this? Sarutobi asked in anger. The bewildered Jonin said nothing, and just pushed a note in his hand. I have found a teacher, who has agreed to teach me till the Chunin exam finals. I am leaving the village with Sensei to train. I will return a day or two before the finals. Naruto, where is Kakashi? Sarutobi asked in anger. Ebisu whimpered at the thunderous expression on the man's face, while Temari suppressed a smile. He was going to leave the village today to train Uchiha-san in his private grounds. He had assigned me to Naruto for the month, Ebisu replied, before cowering at the furious increase in chakra which left everybody in the room, including the ANBU, gasping for air. Temari made a mental note to never incur the man's wrath. Who is his sensei? You or Kakashi? Umbu. Bring that idiot here. Hiruzen barked in anger, sending an ANBU scampering away as if Uchiha Madara were hot on his tail. And what happened yesterday? Ebisu whimpered under the glare, but nodded before answering. Kakashi-san contacted me to teach Naruto for a month, while he taught Uchiha-san for his match against Gaara. He mentioned that he needed to focus all of his attention, so that Sasuke-san doesn't get killed in his match, he answered, making both Hiruzen and Temari scowl. So what were you going to teach Naruto? Hiruzen asked as Ebisu nodded quickly. I was going to refine his chakra control, as well as teach him taijutsu as Kakashi had instructed. Hiruzen nodded quietly at that, but internally his temper was reaching his breaking point. I see, he replied tightly. Wait till Kakashi comes. Temari smirked at the tone. He is going to tear a new one to that silver cyclops, she thought amusedly. Seeing that Hiruzen had forgotten her presence in the chaos, she patiently waited there. Quickly enough, Kakashi came in from a window, unaware of the rage bottled inside his leader. Hokage-sama, Tenzo told that you had asked for me, he said lazily. Hiruzen nodded, before crashing his entire chakra on the lazy Jonin. Temari noticed that she was indeed feeling the pressure, but wasn't getting crushed under it like the scared Jonin. Concentrated chakra pressuring. How much control does he have over his chakra? I won't be shocked if he walks over Tusama without breaking a sweat, Temari thought in fear. Hokage-sama? Kakashi squeaked in shock, his entire body paralyzing under the dense angry chakra. Who is important to you, Sasuke or Naruto? Hiruzen asked calmly, still keeping his pressure over Kakashi. What kind of question is that? Kakashi asked in shock, raising his voice. Hiruzen's eyes reddened. A sane question if you asked me. Can I know why you gave Naruto to Ebisu for a month, while you taught Sasuke? Is Naruto a second priority to you? He asked calmly, the calmness sending shivers down everybody's spines. No! Kakashi exclaimed in anger. Then why don't you teach Naruto alongside Sasuke? He asked with a frown. Sasuke's opponent is Gaara, and he almost killed Lee if it weren't for Guy. And in simple words, Sasuke is weaker than Lee. He will be killed in an instant, Kakashi said without a break. Naruto is weaker than Sasuke currently, whereas Neji is stronger than Lee. So you are saying that, refining Naruto's chakra control and taijutsu, you expect him to beat Neji? Hiruzen asked as he narrowed his eyes. What gave you the bright idea that you can defeat a Hyuga in taijutsu, if you don't use your Sharingan? Kakashi winced at the statement, but said nothing. He turned to Ebisu and gave him a cold stare. Hiruzen narrowed his eyes dangerously. Don't blame that incompetent excuse for a jonin. He couldn't look after a single genin, and let the boy get kidnapped, Hiruzen said as Ebisu nodded at the insult and accusation. What? Kakashi asked in shock. Naruto was kidnapped? Yes, if you hadn't grasped it by now, Hiruzen said sarcastically. Someone knocked Ebisu unconscious, and when he came by this morning, there was a single note that he was leaving the village with his new sensei, and won't return till the finals. And you can't blame the boy, because he is always tempted by training since his academy teaching was sabotaged. Temari rose a brow at the last statement. That explained why he had such a low-class taijutsu. Kakashi knew what Hiruzen was saying was the truth. Naruto hadn't been taught anything other than Henge and Kawarimi at academy because of Mizuki. Let me ask you this, Kakashi, what have you taught Team 7 since they were given in your care? Sarutobi asked with a frown. Kakashi nodded. I have finished their chakra control refinement by tree climbing, daily spars, as well as team building exercises, Kakashi answered nonchalantly. Hiruzen and Temari rose a brow at the answer. Kakashi, Hiruzen started with a frown. Your team is a heavy assault team. Explain to me, how is only daily spars and team building exercises going to help the team over 3 months? Have you learned nothing from your mission to Wave, or your own team? Your team's strength is nowhere near Minato's. Both of you are heavy assault teams, he asked in anger. Kakashi clenched his jaw, but knew that Hiruzen had pointed out perfectly. As much as he hated to admit it, even Obito would have walked over his team without breaking a sweat. So has Naruto been found? Kakashi asked, making Sarutobi frown. We don't even know when he left. And anybody could kidnap him, you know that very well. He could have been killed by now if IWA or Kumo are behind this. We will find him, don't worry. You can teach your precious Uchiha in private, and even if after your training, he still loses against Gaara, I don't think you are a competent teacher, Kakashi, Hiruzen said with sadness. Kakashi's eyes narrowed at that, but said nothing and nodded. Seeing nobody move, Hiruzen rose a brow at the pair of jonins. What are watching my face for, morons? Out. The two nodded hurriedly before scampering away, not wanting to incur more wrath. You are still here? Hiruzen asked in confusion, seeing Temari in a corner. Sorry, Naruto was being mentioned, so I was a bit worried. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, Temari replied. You seem to care a lot for him, unlike Tusama, she remarked suddenly. She slapped her hand, realizing that she had spoken even before realizing. Hiruzen laughed before shaking his head. I knew his father very well, and I owe his father a great debt. He does not deserve any of this, especially when he didn't know that he was Jinchuriki until his genin graduation, Hiruzen replied with a frown. Seeing all this happening like now, I feel like I have failed his father. Right now, the last thing I want to do is die. I don't want to face his father, much less his mother. Temari smiled a little, remembering Jiraiya's account of Naruto's father running around the village from his mother. She bowed a bit. Thank you for looking after him. Staying sane while you are being harassed from both inside and the outside isn't easy. I know that from my brother, Temari remarked as Hiruzen smiled, getting an idea. Why don't you show your brother to my student when he stops by? I am sure my student can fix the shoddy seal, and stop Shikaku from influencing your brother's decisions, Hiruzen suddenly said, shocking Temari. Why would you do such a thing? She blurted out, making Hiruzen frown. We are allied after all. Why wouldn't I help an allied hidden village? He asked rhetorically, before pausing. I don't want a repeat of Yuzushiogekyo 2. IWA, Kumo and Kiri destroyed them in 2 days so that they wouldn't help us with their Fuinjutsu prowess. If another war breaks out, I want Suna to put resistance at such an attack until reinforcements arrive. Temari nodded before walking out. He's nothing like Tusama. Were all Hokages like this? No wonder all Konoha shinobi love their Hokage without reservations. It's just their name can bring courage back in the shinobi. I don't think our invasion is going to be successful. Wake up, Naruto, Jiraiya said as he shook the sleeping blonde. Naruto mumbled something incomprehensible before he started snoring again. Jiraiya rose a brow, before smirking. And here I thought that I would be able to teach you an amazing A-rank jutsu, Jiraiya said with smugness. In an instant, Naruto was up, his eyes sparkling with excitement and eagerness. Jiraiya smirked at the reaction, making Naruto frown. You said that to wake me up, didn't you? Naruto said accusingly. Jiraiya shook his head in denial. I was going to teach you, if your chakra control was good. For now, get ready. We will first check your taijutsu and something I want to give you, Jiraiya replied. The jutsu was invented by Minato, he added and smirked seeing the fire lighting in Naruto's eyes. Yes, Jiraiya-sensei. Naruto exclaimed before running away to get ready. Jiraiya shook his head at how easy it was to fire up Naruto. Jiraiya rose his brow as a wet-haired Naruto, wearing the clothes he had given him, was standing in front of him in less than 5 minutes. I am ready, Jiraiya nodded, before going out to an open field nearby the inn they were staying. He gestured Naruto to sit opposite to him. Naruto rose a brow, but sat at the place as Jiraiya rummaged a scroll from his pack, and laid it in front of Naruto. This is the Toad summoning contract. Your father was a Toad summoner, before he died, he remarked pointing to the name Namikaze Minato. Naruto looked at him in confusion and awe. I am passing this to you now. Draw some blood and write your name here, he said pointing to a blank strip next to his father's. Naruto's eyes widened in shock, before he nodded eagerly. He bit his thumb, drawing out some blood to write his name. He paused for a moment, before smiling brightly. Jiraiya smiled at the name he had written. Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto? Boy, Bunta's face is going to be legendary when he sees it. Jiraiya commented closing the scroll, and packing it back. Now assign our boar, dog, bird, monkey and ram. Try putting as much chakra as you can. I wouldn't be surprised if you managed to summon Bunta. You have more chakra than anybody else I have seen. Naruto nodded and took in a deep breath. Tuchan used to summon them. Even Jiraiya-sensei summons them. I guess all their summoners are powerful ninjas. I need to put all of my chakra into this, Naruto thought determined. He went through the 5 hand seals, before trying to pour as much chakra as possible into the summoning and slapped his palm on the ground. Kuchios no Jutsu. Naruto called out, as an array of seals spread from his hand causing a sudden poof of smoke. The teacher and student looked expectantly to see what had been summoned. Naruto frowned seeing the small toad looking at his teacher with a raised brow. I thought I could summon something bigger. I guess I should go again, Naruto said making Jiraiya jump and catch his hands. Wait. You summoned the second most powerful toad. Even I can't summon him this easily, Jiraiya remarked as the elderly toad raised an impressed brow. You got us a new summoner, Jiraiya-chan? The toad asked. Naruto frowned on how the toad was calling Jiraiya with an unsuitable honorific. Don't call him Chan. Naruto butted in before Jiraiya could reply. The toad laughed at that, whereas Jiraiya glared at him. Naruto, Fukasaku-sama is the one who taught me senjutsu and things related to the Toad clan, Jiraiya warned making the blonde go red in embarrassment. On the other hand, the toad eyes wrinkled with mirth. So he is Minato-chan's son? He has quite a lot of chakra, Fukasaku remarked with a smile. He managed to summon me on the first try, Jiraiya-chan? He asked Jiraiya. Yeah. I assume he used as much chakra as he could, before he summoned you. I guess he can summon Bunta after his chakra control is refined, Jiraiya commented. Sorry if he disturbed you. I hadn't expected him to summon you. Nah. Rather I should thank him, Jiraiya-chan. After all, you are running away from your final exercise of becoming a sage, Fukasaku said while narrowing his eyes. Jiraiya gulped under the glare, before his eyes became serious. After the Chunin exams, I am taking him on a 3-year training trip. Especially with, Jiraiya trailed off as Fukasaku nodded in understanding. I heard from the messengers you normally use. That is a dangerous organization indeed. Gamamaru-sama mentioned about the Gobi disappearing a week ago, the toad replied making Jiraiya go in shock. I thought they wouldn't make any moves until 3 years. I guess capturing the Gobi was their luck. Information like this can be tampered, unless you check on them personally. I think someone will visit Naruto-chan soon, to check if their strength. If the Jinchuriki can be captured now, they may capture him, the toad said seriously. I see. Thank you for the information, Fukasaku-sama. I need to up his training more now, Jiraiya stated, making the toad nod before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Who is going to visit me? Naruto asked in confusion. Jiraiya looked at him pensive before sighing. I won't sugarcoat it, but there are a group of ninjas as powerful as me and Sensei, after people like you and that Gaara kid, who hold Bija. Orochimaru was a part of this organization too, before he ran away. The level you are right now, you don't stand a chance against them, Jiraiya said seriously. That was one of the reasons I wanted to take you as soon as you graduated. Right now, if you stand up against them for some time, they will come 3 years later for you. That's enough time to make you as powerful as Minato, or even more. Naruto nodded at the thought of surpassing his father. I understand, Jiraiya-sensei. What should I do? Well, how many shadow clones can you make? The man asked while rubbing his chin. About nearing 200, Naruto replied unsure. Jiraiya's eyes lit up with excitement. Make about 100 Kagebunshin, Jiraiya instructed as Naruto did the same. The field soon got crammed packed with 100 blonde heads. Now 90 of you practice your chakra control, the remaining 10 stay here, he said but none of them moved. How is this going to help? A few Narutos asked together. Jiraiya facepalmed at the question. Kagebunshin divide your chakra equally among the clones. Dividing it over a large number decreases the amount of chakra in a single clone, hence increasing your control. Also, when the shadow clones pop, you receive their memories, Jiraiya explained as Naruto's eyes widened in shock. I never knew about that, all of them cried out in shock. Jiraiya nodded before shooing the 90 clones away to their assigned task. Now 8 of you, take these 8 books and read from them, he instructed while popping 8 books from a storage seal. A clone frowned at the title. Beginner's Guide to Fuinjutsu? Do I have to read this? Naruto asked, not happy at the prospect of reading books. Jiraiya frowned before smirking. He now knew how exactly to rile Naruto up. Both of your parents were masters of Fuinjutsu. I thought you were interested in it, Jiraiya said nonchalantly. Glee rose seeing the fire burn again in Naruto's eyes. I will do it, the 8 of them cried out together, before taking 8 different trees around the clearing. Now show me the taijutsu katas you have learned, he instructed again. The original one nodded before going through what he had been in the academy. By Mizuki. Jiraiya frowned at the brawler-style position, before shaking his head. Who taught these katas? Jiraiya asked with a frown. Naruto looked at him with confusion, before realization dawned on him. I got everything wrong, didn't I? He asked sadly. Mizuki had taught me the kata, saying that this was a style only I can do, Naruto admitted sadly. Well, I have a unique style for you too. Among you only maybe that Shikamaru kid can do this style, because you are lean. Kakashi went just a bit over its norm because his muscles developed a bit too much. You have a lot of muscle, but it is compressed in a lean body. That makes you perfect for the hummingbird taijutsu style. The only user of this was your father. It relies purely on speed, explosive power and accuracy. It is a perfect counter for many styles like Goken, and on par with Juken, Jiraiya stated as he tossed another scroll to one of the clones. All of its katas are in it, he added. Naruto watched in awe as his clones went to do as they had been instructed, increasing his learning pace. He looked at Jiraiya with unbottled excitement. What should I do? Naruto asked eagerly. Well, if you want to learn your father's Rasengan, you need to have good chakra control. That's what your clones are doing right now. But they can't do your physical work. That means you need keep you in shape by doing physical exercises yourself. So, assuming that the clearing is 200 meters in circumference. Give me 50 laps, the Toad Sage instructed his apprentice. The blonde nodded before he started to jog and sprint at the circumference of the clearing. Good. If he has 90 clones at chakra control, he can do what he does over 3 months in a single day. At this rate, he might surpass a huge number of jonins by the time we return back to Konoha. Kage Bunshin sure are a great way to increase your experience. I wonder if I can use them for senjutsu training. Shikamaru frowned at the information he heard Ino and Sakura gossiping about. Nah. Naruto may be an idiot, but he had a weird knack of things. He would be the last one to fall for such a trick. He almost laughed at the idiocy of others had been believing the concise note Naruto had written. Naruto is safe, Shikamaru remarked, garnering everybody's attention at the table where they were eating barbecue. Choji nodded in agreement, as did Kiba. He may seem like an idiot, but he is hyper-aware. Even a small fly doesn't miss his eye. I don't know how he trains, but his reflexes are the best among all of us. Even a single slip or changing of your facial muscles can hint that you are deceiving him, Kiba commented, making Sakura frown. Then pray to tell me why that baka is so bad? She asked with a half-sneer. Shikamaru glared at her with intensity, before sighing. He has been alone his whole life. I admit I started avoiding him when I realized that the children started to isolate me and Choji with Naruto. I ran away, but he still didn't treat me differently for avoiding him. He came with an understanding face saying that he wasn't angry on Choji and I, and that it was fine if we ignored him and played with others. Shikamaru confessed as Choji nodded in agreement. Ino looked at two with wide eyes. Even though she thought she knew everything about her two teammates, she didn't have an inkling of idea that they had been buddies with Naruto once. Why didn't you ever tell me this? Ino asked in confusion. Kiba snorted at that. We couldn't face ourselves after that. How were we supposed to tell others? He sacrificed his own happiness on the scale that we would remain happy. How many of us could do this when we were 6? You two fought like wild cats and destroyed your friendship over a boy at 7. You only thought of your own feelings, Kiba said harshly, pointing at the two girls. The two flinched at the accusation. The only person he was close to before, and even now, is Hokage-sama. He has always been there as long as we can remember. He used to make time and visit Naruto once a week, and check up on his health. And he needs to look after a village. There wasn't anybody else until Iruka-sensei came around. He had been neglected so much by then, that all of Iruka-sensei's time was spent teaching him the basics, and they barely finished for the genin exams, Choji stated, making Sakura cower at the 3 glares being directed at her. Does anyone know how Hokage-sama came so close to Naruto? Shino asked the trio of boys. Shikamaru shrugged. He has been visiting Naruto ever since or any of us remember, Choji replied, making Tenten frown. I know he visits us specifically to get kunais for Naruto. Like I have heard my father criticize the villagers a lot of times. They don't see who Naruto is beyond that. That's what he said, the female from Team 9 spoke up. It's like only a few people treat him as a human. I should not speak about this, Because Kurenai-sensei and Ka-chan almost bit my and Hinata's head off when I mentioned the seal on Naruto's stomach, Kiba remarked, before pointing to his stomach. Hinata described it as a circle in 2 pieces, and 4 rays protruding from each, and red chakra leaking out randomly from it. Isn't human chakra blue? Choji asked with a frown. Shikamaru furrowed his brows at the information. Shino too seemed pensive. You know that I tag all of my team members and friends with a bug, right? The boys nodded whereas the 2 girls scrunched up their faces. Tenten rose a brow at the information. Aburain clan uses them for recon and tracking. But there's something which is told to new members. Never tag Naruto for longer periods, or you may lose your hive entirely. When asked that, they had ignored us, Shino said with his usual passive face. I know there's something which is forbidden for the older generation to speak about Naruto. It's like they are trying to hide something, just naming it as bad influence. I often wondered if his parent did something wrong, but Tu-chan or Choji's dad said that nobody knew about who Naruto's parents were. They said that he just, Shikamaru trailed off, his eyes widening to the size of saucer plates. What happened, Shikamaru? Ino asked worriedly. Shikamaru snapped his head towards her, before shaking it in denial rapidly. I just remembered something I need to do. Sorry, but I need to go, Shikamaru said before bolting away, assuming that his father would be at the Hokage Tower in his office. Choji and Kiba raised a brow at the vanishing figure of Shikamaru. Did he figure something out? He just stopped at oh. Oh. Shika! Wait for me. Choji scampered after his childhood friend. Kiba too realized the same thing and ran after the 2. The 3 girls and Shino stared at the now empty seats. Tenten craned her head sideways, not knowing what to say. We shouldn't pry. Why? Because they feel guilty for isolating Naruto, and they think they can help him, Shino remarked, making Tenten nod in agreement. Sakura looked down guiltily. Even though they had been teammates for over 3 months, she knew next to nothing about Naruto. Do you think Naruto can beat Neji? Tenten suddenly asked. Shino smirked underneath the high-collar jacket. As long as I have known Naruto, he has a knack for unimaginable feats. He couldn't create a simple clone in the academy, but now, he spams Kage Bunshin after Kage Bunshin at a rate which would kill even our senseis of chakra exhaustion, Shino commented amusedly. Shikaku had been having a peaceful lunch with Choza, Inoichi and Suminozuka, the latter joining that because of her tracking capabilities. So, even his tracks have been covered? Shikaku asked with a frown. Sum nodded sadly. I tried tracing out the Kyuubi's chakra, but it too came out as a blank. The trail just moves around the apartment. Before vanishing, Kuramaru, Sum's partner, reported. The 4 adults frowned at the information. A seal master is at work, Choza commented. You can't suppress such humongous chakra without seals. What seal masters do we know of? He wondered out. Jiraiya-sama, and Chiosen from Suna. The one Kiri had died soon after the Third War, while the ones which Iwa and Kumo have are frail to even move from their bed, Inoichi replied. Jiraiya-sama hasn't been in the village for years, and Chiosen isn't a seal master, Inoichi. Have you seen the Kazekage's son? That's her work, Sum commented. So, there's a seal master, who can sneak into Konoha, kidnap a high-priority target, and vanish without a trace, while taking a literal chakra generator with him, Shikaku exclaimed exasperated. Hey, don't assume it's a boy. It can be a woman too. Sum retorted, making Choza look at her bewildered. Ito-tsum-san, we don't have any interest in the kidnapper's gender. We need to find Naruto-kun, he spoke up, making the woman grunt. You don't need to do that, Tu-chan, a voice spoke up from the doorway. The 4 adults frowned, seeing Shikamaru, Choji and Kiba looking at them with emotionless faces. Naruto is hyper-aware. He would be the last one to get kidnapped from any of us, Shikamaru added, making Shikaku frown. Shikamaru, he has vanished without a trace. Not even Kuramaru can track his smell, Shikaku said in an exasperated voice. Kiba snorted. What gave you the idea that even Kuramaru can find him? He can erase his tracks easily. He is a genius when it comes to these things. How do you think he managed to hide from you so long after he pulled off his extraordinary pranks? Kiba asked with a raised brow. Choji frowned behind them. Guys, we are going off track, he warned. Shikaku rose a brow as he drank water. Does Naruto keep the Kyuubi locked away in his body? Kiba asked unceremoniously. Shikaku spit out the water in shock, as Choji and Inoichi choked on their pieces of food. What gave you that idea? Some blurted out in shock. Shikamaru rose a brow with an expression which screamed, Are you an idiot? The older generation look at him in fear, and often call him a demon. You can't call someone a demon on a whim. Then, when we were discussing about Naruto now, you said that he just popped out of nowhere on the night of Kyuubi attack. That and Kiba telling me about the seal was enough to figure out that Kyuubi was sealed inside Naruto, Shikamaru explained as the 2 boys nodded in agreement. I know it is forbidden to tell that he holds the Kyuubi to our generation. If it was just allowed, the villagers would have openly told that, and not label him as a bad influence, Kiba added as silence descended in the room. Well, that hit bullseye, Shikaku started. So, how do you think of him now that you know he hold back the troublesome Kyuubi? We are ashamed of ourselves. You remember Choji, Kiba and I used to play with him when we were 6 or 7. When the other children started isolating us because of our interaction with Naruto, he stayed away so that we wouldn't get isolated. All while he was dealing with the Kyuubi inside him, Shikamaru said quietly. Does Naruto know about the Kyuubi? Choji asked with a frown. Yeah. Mizuki was arrested because he told that Naruto. Well, he was supposed to know about the Kyuubi after graduation, but from Hokage-sama, not a snake's traitor. Choza answered his son's question. Snake's traitor? Kiba asked puzzled. Team 7 fought him in the second stage, some replied. Orochimaru, you mean the one who bit Sasuke team? That pedophile? Kiba blurted out, making the room burst out in laughter. Who called Orochimaru a pedophile? Inoichi wheezed between laughs. Naruto had described him as a creepy pedophile who could summon snakes, and bit Sasuke on the neck. Shikamaru replied in amusement. Well, that isn't surprising. He called Ebisu a pervert on his face, some commented. Trust that boy to come out with interesting nicknames. Soon the room became quiet, as Shikaku decided to ask something Shikamaru had noticed. You said Naruto was hyper-aware, right? He asked as Shikamaru nodded. Like even a small movement or noise, and he can catch it, Kiba answered as the room suddenly turned cold. Did we say something wrong? He blurted out in fear. The four adults realized that they had leaked out their chakra in anger. Choza clicked his tongue. Nothing, Shikamaru-kun, Kiba-kun, Choji. We just realized something, the big bone man replied. You can go, but don't tell this to anyone. Hokage-sama's law is execution for anyone who tells Naruto's status as a Jinchuriki, he warned as the three kids nodded and gulped in fear. As soon as the three boys left, the four shared a look. What Tamari-san noted and Hokage-sama said was right. Naruto has been abused, Inoichi remarked with a frown. A few hours away from Konoha, a blonde woke up with a searing headache. He clutched his head at the pain, groaning as shifted his prone form. He opened his eyes when someone tapped his shoulder, and turned to look at the person. What happened, URGH? What was that? He asked in disgust at the sudden bitter taste that assaulted his mouth. The man laughed at his reaction, before giving him another saucer full of the same substance. It is a medicine for headache. You went ahead and dispelled 100 Kage Bunshin together, who had been around for 12 hours, baka. Nobody's brain can take 1200 hours worth of information in an instant. Jiraiya scolded as Naruto hung his head low, realizing his mistake. So I shouldn't dispel them together. Should I dispel them in short batches with breaks in between? The blonde asked, before pinching his nose close and taking the medicine again. It depends on how much time your clones have been around. I would prefer one after every 15 seconds, if it exceeds an hour. Now eat your dinner. You have been unconscious for 4 hours. I need to do something, Jiraiya said as he pushed a plate in Naruto's hand before getting up. Yes, Ero-sennin. Naruto responded, making the man frown. Didn't I warn you to not call me that? I will call you Ero-sennin if you act like a pervert, Ero-sennin. I know you are going to do your so-called research, brat, Jiraiya murmured under his breath. I am not a pervert. I am a super pervert, Jiraiya replied, making Naruto frown. Yeah? Sensei, Fuinjutsu was quite easy, you know. I remember everything from the first 4 books, Naruto remarked, making Jiraiya stop in his tracks. Come again? Jiraiya asked in shock, wondering if he had heard wrong. Naruto ate the food in his mouth, before speaking again. I said that I remember everything from the first 4 books, sensei. I understood quite a bit of 5th and 6th, Naruto replied, making the white-haired pervert look at him in shock. Jiraiya sat down in front of Naruto in an instant. Alright, start with what you learnt in the first book, Jiraiya instructed as Naruto frowned but explained everything he remembered from the books, eating simultaneously. Jiraiya heard Naruto's answers in shock, still not believing his ears. That all I remember? Yeah, the position for strokes when making seals which involve time, Naruto remarked in the end as he drew 5 lines and a unique character at specific intervals. Jiraiya rubbed his temples in disbelief. Naruto you, Jiraiya stammered, making Naruto gulp in fear. Did I say something wrong? Naruto asked, unsure. Jiraiya shook his head in denial. No! You idiot! Your father and mother had taken over 8 months to reach the same level. You reached that in relative time of 108 hours, Jiraiya exclaimed, shocking Naruto. You mean I did this faster than Tuchan and Ka-chan? He asked in a whisper as tears brimmed in his eyes. Jiraiya nodded as tears started flowing down Naruto's cheeks as he smiled. Why are you crying? I just surpassed your father, Jiraiya said, making Naruto shake his head in denial. It's not that, Jiraiya-sensei. Knowing that I know Fuinjutsu like Ka-chan and Tuchan made me feel connected to them, you know, Naruto choked out, making Jiraiya smile softly. I never understand how Fuinjutsu works in you Uzumakis, Jiraiya commented with a small smile. You have never told me about Ka-chan, Jiraiya-sensei, you know, Naruto remarked as he calmed down. Jiraiya's eyes lit up at that. Oh. Kushina was one hell of a character. In fact, more dangerous than you with your pranking tendencies. She had once replaced the detergent powder in the Hyuga compound with pink dye. You should have seen all those stuck-up Hyugas running around in pink garments. It is going to take long. You fail in pranking tendencies when compared to your mother. 20 days into the on-road training, Jiraiya rubbed his temples in exasperation. He had started to teach Naruto the Rasengan, after he deemed his chakra control was perfect. That was on the third day into the trip, 4 days after the preliminaries ended. Jiraiya had allowed Naruto to look a Rasengan closely, before giving him a water balloon and instructed him to pop it with his chakra only. Naruto surprisingly had done that in a record of 8 hours, while a few of his clones worked on perfecting the seal in the first 4 books, and learning from the latter 4. When Jiraiya had asked how he had done it so quickly, Naruto had explained that the Rasengan had obliterated a rock, but also on closer inspection, grinded into fine powder at the point of contact. The second step had been completed 2 days later, while the third needed another 4 days. Soon, Naruto realized that his Rasengan didn't pack much power, and kept repeating the third step, gradually increasing power. That was what had brought Jiraiya to such a state. So, you're telling me that you increased power in your Rasengan till my level? Jiraiya asked as Naruto nodded and formed a bright blue Rasengan in his hands. Jiraiya too made one of his own, before raising a brow at the similar brightness of chakra. Guess the chakra control training with your clones succeeded. That's stronger than what Kakashi can make. Thank you for teaching me, sensei. Naruto suddenly exclaimed with a smile. Jiraiya rose a brow at the sudden statement, before getting a new idea for teach Naruto. Where are you in Fuinjutsu and Taijutsu? He asked while furrowing his brows. I am about to complete the 8th book. So, I can create quite a few barriers, specialized blood seals, as well as stasis seals. I am stuck on the part where you use chakra to imprint seal on a surface. In Taijutsu, my accuracy is fine, but my speed and power are a bit off. You are often able to block my strikes, or come in before I put a guard up, Naruto explained as Jiraiya nodded pensively. Have you ever tried sensing chakra? Jiraiya asked as Naruto tilted his head sideways. How the hell do you do that? Naruto blurted out, making Jiraiya smirk. You meditate. If I try to explain how I sense chakra, you will not be able to understand. Everybody senses chakra in their own way, so meditation is the first in the list for sensing chakras, Jiraiya explained. You should be able to sense them easier than others because both your mother and father were sensors. So there's no doubt you are a sensor. So now your assignment alongside Fuinjutsu and Taijutsu is trying to sense people around you. Naruto nodded seriously, before making shadow clones and assigning them to their jobs. Fuinjutsu, Taijutsu katas, meditation and chakra control. The original Naruto started to do physical workout. Jiraiya raised a brow at that. Why aren't you meditating? He asked with frown. Naruto looked at Jiraiya in innocence. My first match is Niji. He is a master in Juken Taijutsu. And I need to teach that bastard on how to treat your family. You said the Juken is fast, and you get in my guard even at a slower speed. I can focus on sensing later. It will be useless if I don't have any chakra in me, Naruto replied. The second match can be either Sasuke or Gaara. Even in those matches if I don't have speed I lose. Sasuke has his Sharingan, while Gaara just keeps piling sand on you, he added. Jiraiya had to agree with that. If Sensei had told about Minato earlier, Naruto would have been the strongest genin by now. He admires Minato so much that even his name is enough to push Naruto beyond his limits. At the level he is now, we still have 3 more years. Jiraiya left back a Kage Bunshin like usual to help out, while he went to do some research. He would admit probably that Naruto would surpass him in 3 years, because all that he was lacking was experience. He had asked the 3-year trip for that very matter. Soon enough, Jiraiya found a hot spring in a nearby village, 10 minutes of ninja run from where Naruto was training. He kept an eye out for Naruto's chakra knowing that his chakra often reflected his mood, and his huge chakra reserves were unable to sense unless you had Jonin-level chakra reserves. He would be nonchalant till Naruto's chakra reflected his determined mood. Taking out a notepad, he started scribbling notes, while giggling perversely often. For the first time in the past couple of days, he had been able to do his research for more than an hour. Naruto had popped up quiet a few times, finding him unintentionally with his sensing. On the other hand, a blonde's eye twitched seeing a familiar red and green in a tree near the hot springs. She quietly walked over to the perving white-haired male. She patiently tapped on his shoulder. The man brushed off her hand, before writing a line. Don't disturb me, brat. Instead of using your clones, you yourself try making seals with your chakra, Jiraiya said before writing again. The blonde rose a brow, her eyes still holding anger. I didn't know you took a student after Minato, Jiraiya, the blonde said calmly. Jiraiya paled hearing the voice, his hands trembling with fear. He shakily turned to the blonde, and the snickering raven head behind her. TTS Tsunade! He squeaked in shock, holding his hands up in surrender, as he jumped away from where the 2 women were standing. It's not what it looks like, he stuttered out in fear. Tsunade nodded in agreement. Yeah, it's not what it looks like, Tsunade iterated Jiraiya's statement. It's exactly what it looks like, you damn pervert, Tsunade accused in a loud voice. Jiraiya's eyes widened, before fear struck in them. Please keep your voice low. The others will hear you, he pleaded. So have you again left your student while you perv around? Tsunade asked accusingly. Jiraiya narrowed his eyes in anger, flaring his chakra. I look after my student, Tsunade. I have looked after all my students, and made them into remarkable shinobi. I haven't run away from the village like you did, Jiraiya replied calmly. Tsunade winced knowing she crossed her line by mentioning his students. I am sorry about that. And I didn't run away from the village, because I have nothing remaining there, Tsunade retorted, making Jiraiya frown. You still had a relative in Konoha. I was not allowed to contact him till now because of the threat to his life. You had no such problems. You could have looked after the boy, rather than leaving him out like Sensei did. It's still a miracle that even after the abuse of the villagers, he has managed to retain his sanity. We got a good view of what he could have done, if had given in to the Kyuubi's temptations. So where were you? Jiraiya asked harshly, making the woman narrow her eyes. Who are you talking about? After Kushina and his son died, who was remaining in Konoha? Tsunade asked in anger as Jiraiya looked at her in shock. What did you say? Jiraiya asked in confusion. There wasn't anybody in that hellhole after Kushina and his son died, Tsunade repeated in irritation. Jiraiya looked at her as if she had grown a second head. Who the fuck told you that Naruto died? Jiraiya blurted out in shock. What do you mean? I meant what I said. Who told you that Naruto died? Tsunade-sama. Who is this Naruto you and Jiraiya-sama are talking about? Shizen asked as she readjusted Tantan in her grip. His father cannot be spoken so lightly about, his mother too. But Tsunade-hime knows who Naruto is, Jiraiya responded, making Tsunade frown. I had got a letter from Sensei, saying that Kushina, Minato and Naruto had died the night of the Kyuubi attack and Minato sealed the Kyuubi away in an orphan, Tsunade stated with a frown. Sensei never told me such, rather I was knocking on his door demanding to see Naruto 3 days after the attack. Why would he write you such a letter? And Minato sealed the Kyuubi in his own son, Jiraiya explained, shocking Tsunade. You mean he is alive? Naruto didn't die that night? She asked as Jiraiya nodded, irritated. Before he could say something else, a blonde announced his unflashy arrival, as he crashed face first into the ground. Ouch. Too much chakra. He mumbled before looking between Tsunade, Shizen and Jiraiya. Who are you, Bachan? Naruto blurted out before turning to Jiraiya. You know her Erosenin? I told you to stop calling me that, Jiraiya shouted in anger. Naruto pointed a hand at the hot springs. When you are perving around, I will call you Erosenin, not Jiraiya-sensei, Naruto pointed out humorlessly. Tsunade and Shizen gaped at the blonde in shock. The grown spiky hair, and the 2 bangs framing his face from underneath the Hittite, she could have sworn it was Minato, if not for the whisker marks and the boy's age. Naruto? Tsunade asked in shock as the boy looked at her cautiously. How do you know me? He asked, narrowing his eyes. Jiraiya gave her an iMessage, telling that he would handle it. Naruto, she didn't know that you were alive until we talked now. Somebody had sent a letter from Konoha saying that you were dead, Jiraiya explained, making Naruto frown. Okay? You want to add something, Erosenin? Naruto asked, making Jiraiya shake his head in exasperation. Lying was no use to Naruto. Yes, she is your maternal aunt and your godmother too, Jiraiya added, making Naruto's jaw clench, but receded his anger. Why didn't she try to hope that I could be alive? Or return to Konoha? Isn't that her village? The village for which her grandfather, her granduncle and countless other shinobi sacrificed their lives to protect? Naruto asked coldly, making Jiraiya and Tsunade wince. You know that I wasn't safe if I traveled with you. What was her problem then? Tsunade said nothing, rather she wasn't in a position to say anything at that. Naruto had perfectly asked the question one after the other, not giving her a chance to even utter an excuse. She closed her eyes, trying to stop the tears from falling down. If I were you, who has lost all of their family, I would still come to check in Konoha to check if the letter was true, and many people could have been saved with your medical prowess when the Kyuubi attacked. Kao-chan could have been saved, if you weren't cowering away trying to hide from reality, he added, making the blonde woman flinch at the accusation. Naruto! Jiraiya hissed in anger. Naruto gave an emotionless stare to Jiraiya. You know I am telling the truth. You said that Kao-chan's wound was about 2 Fuma shuriken in breadth because she had been only pierced by the front of the Kyuubi's nail. I had got a smaller wound from a kunai once, but an experienced Irionin healed it. Maybe the Kyuubi's chakra helped too, but with her medical prowess and Kao-chan's Uzumaki blood, she would have been weak, but would have lived, Naruto said coldly, making Jiraiya look downcast, knowing that the boy was right. I am sorry, Tsunade stammered out, making Naruto frown. What's done is done. I am not trying to accuse you of anything, just pointing out that Kao-chan would be alive if you weren't squandering around with the sacrifices Shodanji-chan and Naidanji-chan made, Naruto responded, making Tsunade glare at him furiously. What do you mean by squandering their sacrifices? She asked furiously. Jiraiya looked at Naruto with worry, knowing that boy had been pushing his limits with Tsunade. Do you think that all those shinobi who died in the 3 wars, died of their own will? Everybody wants to live, but they died with a smile, because they knew that they were protecting Konoha. They died with the peace that their families would remain safe, even if it meant dying for them. It is said that Naidanji-chan died acting as a decoy to help Sandanji-chan's team get away. Because he trusted Ji-chan to take care of the village, and his family. He knew that even if he died, Sandanji-chan would keep the village and you safe. For me, all of them gave their lives trying to achieve peace. But in Jiraiya-sensei's book, he said that the alliance which we make are temporary. Nobody knows how true peace can be attained. I want the hidden villages to have true peace between them, and not go at each other's throat at the drop of a hat. A war brings misery to both sides, and we forget that trying to prove that one is right. That's why I want to become the Hokage, Naruto said passionately. The three adults looked at him with wide eyes. The three seeing visages of the people they knew. Jiraiya shook his head with an exasperated smile, while Tsunade staggered back in shock. She was quiet for a few moments, as Naruto, Jiraiya and Shizen looked at her expectantly for an answer. When you put it that way, you sound like Minato. Making the person feel guilty by explaining your view. For all this time, I always thought that all the Hokages were idiots sacrificing their lives over a village. But they died thinking that they took a chance to protect and save their loved ones, she remarked softly, before untying the necklace around her neck. Take this as a proof that I lost to you. This was Ji-chan's necklace, which he had given to Mitoba-chan after marriage, she said, handing the green crystal to the blonde boy. As soon as the crystal touched Naruto's palm, his eyes flew open, realizing what the crystal was. This has a seal on it, he blurted out, shocking the three adults. Eh? Tsunade and Jiraiya asked in shock. It's quite unique. It uses the property of the crystal. Though I am not sure for what, Naruto answered before frowning. This feels like it's absorbing chakra if I pump my chakra into it, he added before tapping it with a finger, making an array of seals appear at its equator. What did you do? Jiraiya asked in confusion. Naruto looked up after wearing the necklace. Just put a chakra seal on it. My chakra would bounce off it, while it would absorb other chakras, Naruto replied nonchalantly, making Tsunade gape in shock. That's high-level fuinjutsu. I assure you Jiraiya can barely do the same. And did you just imprint the seal with your chakra? Tsunade asked as Jiraiya grinned widely. Tsunadeheim, if I were to rank him now in a bingo book, I would rank him as an A-rank shinobi with flea on sight below B rank. And you finally pulled off where you were stuck, so how did you do it? Jiraiya asked eagerly. Naruto craned his sideways before shrugging. I am not sure. I just imagined my chakra taking the shape of the seal, he answered, making Jiraiya fall flat on his face. Even Minato had said the exact same words. How am I supposed to complete level 8 book like this? Jiraiya screamed. By understanding it yourself, Tsunade remarked dryly. So why are you traveling around with this pervert? She asked Naruto. Well, he agreed to teach me for the Chunin finals next week, after Kakashi-sensei dumped me for Sasuke. So, we hit the road when Ero-sennin suggested that it would be fun traveling and training, Naruto answered with excitement. It was actually fun. Didn't I tell you to stop calling me that? Jiraiya asked in anger. Naruto coughed in his hand. Because you are peeping at a hot spring again. Gathering writing material for the filth which should be burned because throwing it into trash would defile the garbage. Naruto responded, making Tsunade snort in laughter while Jiraiya looked at him dumbfoundedly. Minato had said the same when he had read the first page of his first issue, Tsunade stated, making Jiraiya look depressed. You don't understand. My books are an art, he said loudly. Filth, Naruto remarked. Smut, Shizen added. Badly written smut, Tsunade corrected before realizing her slip. Ha! I knew it. You read my bow. Jiraiya stopped seeing Tsunade looming over him with glinting eyes. Say one word more, and I will pummel you, Tsunade warned as Naruto, Jiraiya and Shizen nodded fearfully. So, how did Sensei allow you to take him for a trip in between Chunin exams? Jiraiya's eyes lit up with amusement. I made Naruto write a vague note, making it look like he has been bribed and gotten kidnapped. This isn't funny, Jiraiya. Tsunade scolded. Hey! At least I pointed out a flaw in Konoha's security. And also, I escaped because I blurted out about Minato to Naruto. He had been thinking that his father was some kind of criminal because Sensei always dodged his questions, Jiraiya replied before looking at Naruto, who had been staring ahead blankly. Hey! Naruto! What's going on? He asked with a frown. Naruto looked at him blankly, before a smirk rose up his face. I am going ahead, Sensei. I just remembered something, he said before disappearing in a Shenshin. It was 2 days before the finals, when the party of 4 arrived at the gates of Konoha. Jiraiya glanced at Tsunade, inspecting her reaction. How does it feel to be back again, Tsunadeheim? Jiraiya asked. Tsunade looked at him with a raised brow. What do you want me to feel? I just feel happy to be home, Tsunade replied, before turning to Naruto. Boy, I can't wait to see their reactions after seeing you, she remarked heartily. The month in which they had been away, Jiraiya and later Tsunade had fixed his diet, limiting his ramen to a minimum. The change had made him grow a whole inch and a half, as well as had set his hair exactly like his father. Jiraiya had once made Naruto henge into a gray jacket and dark brown pants, imitating Minato from his Genin days. Right now, he looked like a younger version of Minato in his early Chunin or late Genin days, just with his whisker marks. Jiraiya and Tsunade maintained a poker face as they stopped at the gate checkpoint. The two garnered the attention of the conversing guards, scowling at them for their negligence. Jiraiya-sama. Tsunade-sama. Are you here for the Chunin exam finals? Izumo asked eagerly. The two laughed heartily at the question. Nah. I am returning back with my apprentice, Tsunade replied, making the two Chunins openly gape and nod. The two looked at Jiraiya, knowing that man rarely visited Konoha without work. I am just here for the finals. After all, my apprentice is participating too, Jiraiya responded, jerking a thumb in the blonde boy's direction. Izumo, I am seeing a ghost, Kotetsu murmured, spotting the Jinchuriki. And me too, Kotetsu, the Chunin replied, before realization dawned on him. It's not the Yondaime. It's Naruto, he exclaimed as Kotetsu spotted the whiskers hidden by blonde bangs. It's almost like Naruto is. Izumo trailed off, seeing the smug faces of the two Sannin. He is Yondaime-sama's son, isn't he? I assume you wouldn't say this to anyone, Jiraiya warned with a serene smile on his face as the two Chunins nodded quickly. You should talk to Hokage-sama. He thinks that Naruto was kidnapped, Kotetsu responded, making Jiraiya laugh loudly. I wrote that note purposely for that matter. Do you think Naruto can be concise to the point? Jiraiya asked rhetorically. Hey! I can, sensei. It's not my fault that I get carried away while writing things. Naruto retorted. I have some work to do, so I am going ahead and preparing for my matches. Jiraiya frowned at him. He knew that Naruto had been hiding something for the past week, but the blonde had been adamant. You can't rig the stadium before the match, Jiraiya exclaimed. I can, if we bend the rules perfectly. Naruto shouted before disappearing around the corner, thankful that very less people were awake to spot his similarities with his father's face carved on the mountain face. Quickly navigating where Hiruzen had shown him an impartial weapons shop, he paused outside and took a deep breath. Opening the door, he was surprised to see Tenten alongside the shop owner, the latter drinking coffee, Naruto realized with his chakra-enhanced senses. The shop owner, Tachibana Higurashi, spat out his coffee, spotting Naruto in the doorway of his shop. Tenten dodged the hot coffee, before glaring at her father. Why would you that? She asked in shock, before seeing that her father was gazing someone in the doorway of their shop. She turned her head, raising a brow at the boy's changed appearance. And me Minato? Tachibana cried out in shock. Naruto gestured to keep his voice low. I am not Minato, Tachibana-san. Naruto replied as realization dawned on him. You are Naruto, the father-daughter pair spoke up together. Where did you disappear for a month? We thought you had been kidnapped, Tenten asked with a frown. You worried all of us. Naruto scratched the back of his head in embarrassment. Sorry about that, you know. I was training on the road with Jiraiya-sensei, Naruto apologized. Tachibana smirked. Leave it to Jiraiya-sama to up and disappear suddenly. Only that person can come and go from Konoha without a trace if he wants, Tachibana remarked as Tenten gaped. You were taught by Jiraiya of the Sannin? Tenten asked in shock as Naruto nodded. He is a great sensei, you know. Unless he becomes Ero-sennin, Naruto responded. Tachibana barked a hearty laugh at that. That's an apt name for Jiraiya-sama. Though assuming your appearance, you know about your father? Tachibana asked with a smile as Naruto nodded. Yeah. That why actually I am here, you know. I need custom kunais, Naruto started but was cut off when Tachibana slammed his hands on the counter, making Tenten yelp in shock. What's the seal you want on it? The older male asked eagerly in excitement, before realizing what he was doing. I mean, have you completed the seal? Considering that a month ago, you were well an amateur. I know how I was a month ago, Tachibana-san. But spamming 100 Kage Bunshin for 12 hours helps, you know, Naruto said smugly. Tachibana facebombed at the logic. You learned information worth about what, 8.5 years in a single month? He wondered out in shock. What do you mean, Tusan? Tenten asked bewildered. Kage Bunshin's memories return to the user after they dispel. So imagine 100 Kage Bunshin every day for 12 hours, continuously for a month, Tachibana explained, making Tenten gape at the blonde. At least they help your thoughts become a bit more mature, so what seal should I print on them? Tachibana asked as Naruto nodded with a smile and gave him a slip of paper. The pair frowned at the kanji. Isn't this the same as your father? He asked as Naruto frowned. It is? The blonde craned his head sideways in confusion. Tachibana nodded after a moment. I don't know that much about seals, but making kunais for your father, I know a lot about these specific spacetime seals, he remarked before pointing to a specific stroke in the third kanji. He had another seal here below. I don't know what exactly it stood for. All I know is it's not linked with the main spacetime formula, he spoke, rubbing his chin in thought. I should have a copy of the seal matrix somewhere. I will hand it to you when I find it. I tested it out yesterday. It doesn't have any bugs, Naruto replied, frowning as the man handed him back his formula. Tenten watched as Naruto scanned the seal at a rapid pace, the slight widening and narrowing of his eyes the only indication of the blonde deep in thought. Tuchan, don't you need to have good calligraphy for Fuinjutsu? Tenten asked in confusion. Naruto nodded as he looked back up from the scanning the seal. He nodded, handing the piece of paper back to the shop owner. Ji-chan had forced me to do calligraphy a year ago. He said that my handwriting needed to improve because the teachers couldn't a single word, he answered with a shudder. I tried to walk out of it, but Ji-chan, he shuddered again. He promised to tell Tuchi-sen not to serve me any ramen until I fixed my handwriting. The pair opposite to him smothered their sniggers at the horrific expression on the blonde's face. Tenten had found a way to bribe the boy in teaching him Fuinjutsu. She knew the basics of it, but Jiraiya being the only seal master and his absence had forced to put it on hold. So when do you need them? Actually, can I get them by tomorrow night? Naruto asked innocently. They will be ready by tonight if you want, Naruto. I assume you are going to drop the bomb on the day of the finals? The older Higurashi asked with a maniac smirk, making Naruto shake his head in exasperation and nod. Tenten, remind me to take a camera that day. Jiraiya-sensei and Tsunade-bachan are going to do the same, Naruto remarked as Tachibana rose a brow. Tsunade-sama has returned? Tenten asked, jumping up and down. Yeah, she caught Erosen and perving around hot springs a week ago. Somebody sent her a letter, then I died along with Ka-chan and Tu-chan. She admitted that she would have returned and took me with her if she knew I was alive, Naruto replied, making Tachibana frown. Well, I had a piece of my brain to give her when she returned about treating your family members, but seeing why she hadn't, I guess she understands. So, what was your reaction when you came to know that she is your aunt? He asked, making Tenten faint at the information. Well, it didn't go all too well. I criticized her a lot on her choices to stay away from Konoha, but we are good now. Actually, I wanted a favor from Tenten, he said, glancing at the unconscious girl. Tachibana raised a brow to continue. Well, my hair gives away my identity. So, Bachan wanted to put my hair in a bow, but she doesn't know how to tie such relatively short hair. So I wanted to ask if Tenten could do that. Why not ask your teammate? Well, I am not exactly on good terms with Sakura and Ino. Hinata faints a lot for some reason. I guess she is sick. I should ask Bachan to look her over, Naruto answered, making Tachibana release an exasperated sigh. Well, Tenten is out of commission, for the time being. I will send her for you when she comes by. Still look around if you can find someone. I am not sure if Tenten can do what you are asking for. Her hair has always been long. And remove your hatayate. That would lessen the chances of someone recognizing you until you want it to be out, Tachibana replied. Thank you for the help, Tachibana-san. Naruto exclaimed before bolting out from the shop. Seeing that it was barely past 7, and majority of the people would be resting for the big day 2 days later, he made his way to Ichiraku. Naruto! You finally came around. Here we were thinking that you really got kidnapped. Tucci exclaimed from the counter, as he recognized Naruto. The blonde took a seat, before laughing. Everybody thinks that Jiraiya-sensei kidnapped me, he wheezed out between laughs. There was grumbling from a grumpy and still sleepy I am. I told you it was Jiraiya-sensei's work. Now pay up. Tucci exclaimed. Jiraiya-sensei taught you? Naruto wondered out in shock as Tucci put the noodles in boiling water. Yeah. I went to learn Fuinjutsu, but quit because of the difficulty, Tucci answered, making Naruto frown. Fuinjutsu isn't that hard, Asen. Naruto remarked, making the old man frown. It comes easily to you, Uzumaki, brat. There used to be a few jokes back in the days of the Second War. Fuinjutsu runs in the veins of the Uzumaki, Tucci replied dryly, remembering the agony he had went over when learning Fuinjutsu. Readying the bowl, he handed it to the blonde. Sensei had mentioned that, Naruto muttered before taking a bite from his ramen. It feels good to eat from here again, he remarked before wolfing down his bowl. He smiled widely at the clean bowl, before giving the money to Tucci. Only a single bowl? Tucci asked as Naruto shuddered. Tsunade-bachan would beat me into a pulp. She allows only a single ramen bowl a day, Naruto answered. Seeing no reaction on Tsunade's mention, he assumed that he had spotted her earlier. One salty ramen, a female voice sounded from Naruto's right. He rose a brow recognizing the girl, before his eyes lit up in happiness. You have short hair, he suddenly exclaimed, making the girl glare at him. The girl threateningly held her war fan over her shoulder. What's that supposed to mean? She asked in a low voice. Naruto shook his head rapidly in denial. I didn't mean anything bad. It's just that Bachan does not know to tie up short hair like mine, and the only girl I can think of asking for help is sleeping. I want to tie my hair up before anybody sees me like this, Naruto explained, making Temari frown. You look great with your hair like this, Temari retorted. Oju-chan, do as he says. Because if anybody spots him like this, the riots would disrupt the Chunin exam finals, Tucci warned from the kitchen. That bad? Temari asked. Best case scenario, Naruto, Tucci and I answered in unison. Very bad, she corrected herself. That would flop Tusama's plan. I guess I have no choice, she thought as stood behind Naruto. She gathered his spiky hair, using her hands like a comb. His hair is surprisingly soft, that appearance. It smells like lemon? It smells like basil too, she thought absent-mindedly, before gaining a tint of red on her cheeks. Stop thinking like that, she scolded herself. Satisfied with the hair arrangement, she tied his hair with a bow. They're done, she remarked, applying the final knot. Naruto looked at a nearby glass, before smiling widely. He beamed, turning back to Temari. Thank you, Temari, he said before standing up. I will off then. Thank you for the food, he exclaimed before jogging away, but stopped a step later, his legs still jogging. I am not sure if anybody has told you this, but your hair really suits you, Temari, he remarked before dashing off. The girl's face turned red at the compliment. Sure, she had been told that many times, but the boys always made that comment in an attempt to flirt with her. Nobody had said like this out of the blue since her mother passed away. She was brought out of her shock by Tucci's chuckling. Don't blame him. He has no idea of what he should say when speaking with girls. That poor Hyuga girl crushes on him, but he doesn't have an idea about that. Tucci spoke up, pushing her ramen in front of her. I haven't seen him this happy ever. I guess Jiraiya-sensei did the right thing to take him away without informing anybody, he stated offhandedly. Jiraiya as one of the Sannin? Temari asked as Tucci nodded. Orochimaru had said that Jiraiya had a bad habit of popping up at places where he shouldn't be. And it is said that he trained the Yondaime, Temari thought with a frown. But at least his expression is better and genuine, she thought with happiness. Hiruzen could have sworn his wrinkles grew since Naruto disappeared. Even after searching up and down across the elemental nations, they had turned up dry. And Jiraiya wasn't being found too. Come in, Hiruzen commanded tiredly, hearing a knock on the door. Without taking his eyes off the paper, he asked the next question. What do you want? You have seen better days, sensei, a female voice remarked. Hiruzen looked at the woman in shock. She was the last person he had expected to see anytime soon. Tsunade-chan. What brings you here? Hiruzen asked with a small smile. The blonde woman shrugged. Can I visit my home village? I am not a traitor like Orochimaru, she replied dryly. I assume you got my message? He asked Jiraiya. The Toad Sage scowled. I leave him in your care, thinking that he would be safe in Konoha, and gets kidnapped from the village? Imagine my surprise when I re-established contact with the Toads, and the first things they report is Naruto was kidnapped. Were the censors playing marbles? Jiraiya asked in false anger. Shizen gasped at the statement, though quieted down after catching Tsunade's gaze. And imagine my surprise when I run into a frantic Jiraiya telling how someone who died almost 13 years ago for me was alive and kidnapped. Tsunade added, making Hiruzen frown. They are trapping Sandaime-sama to get answers, Shizen realized. What do you mean by that? Hiruzen asked in a dangerously low voice. I had received a letter from you 3 days after the Kyuubi attack, that both Kushina and Naruto had died, Tsunade responded. I never wrote a letter to you which mentioned Naruto even once. I did write letters to call you back and help after the attack, but not a letter about Naruto. I wanted to keep covers on him so that you would return at least to check up on him, but you never came. This explains why, Hiruzen remarked with a frown. Well, it's a good thing we didn't tell Naruto. He would have been the first one here and threatened you, sensei, Jiraiya commented with a laugh. Hiruzen narrowed his eyes at his student. You took him away? He exclaimed accusingly. Yeah. The kid seemed he needed a breather, Jiraiya replied nonchalantly. You made him write that note, Hiruzen added before finding himself pierced by a laser glare. I wanted to see the village frantic. How they would react if their precious weapons suddenly got kidnapped. Minato didn't give his life away for this, sensei, Jiraiya snarled in anger. And boy, was he an untapped tank. What was Kakashi doing for 3 months? That brat surpassed him in less than a month. But promise me you won't meet him until the day of the finals. You are hiding something, Hiruzen said accusingly. Both of his students gave him innocent expressions. Why would say that, sensei? You two are hiding something, he muttered. But that brings to this. Someone tapped into your messages, Jiraiya stated in a no-nonsense tone. Just makes one wonder how many such messages have been tapped, but who will benefit from Tsunade-sama not returning? Shizen wondered out aloud, making the 3 shinobi frown. That is actually a great question. Who would benefit from Tsunadeheim not returning? Definitely not anybody from the shinobi faction of Konoha. The civilian council would greedily agree because they get the best medication. After all this, it only leaves out 3 people. Mitokado Hamura, Yudetane Koharu and Shimura Danzo, Jiraiya commented with a scowl. Why are you still keeping that bastard around, sensei? You know what he did, sensei. You should have killed him that day itself. Jiraiya exclaimed in anger. I know, but he has stolen Shusoi's Sharingan. You know it, Graveness. And I knew you had taken Naruto away. He is the wild card against Danzo. Koto Amatsukami doesn't work on Jinchurikis, Hiruzen replied, revealing that he indeed was under that Genjutsu's influence. I am a sage. Genjutsu doesn't work in sage mode, Jiraiya huffed out, making Hiruzen chuckle at the childish retort. Temari had returned from Ichiraku's the next day in the morning, to face a furious Baki and a cowering Kankuro. She rose a brow at the pair, before finding herself pinned by Baki's glare. I had asked the 2 of you to keep an eye out for Gaara. We don't know what he will do. Baki scolded the 2, before frowning at Temari. And where are you disappearing every day in the morning? He asked her. I went to have some ramen. Those Ichiraku guys serve some good dishes, Temari replied with a shrug. Baki looked at the girl bewildered. You have been having ramen for breakfast? For a month? He asked, shocked. Well, I eat only once a day, and a single bowl. I don't have a diet of ramen like Naruto, Temari responded, making Kankuro frown. Who is this Naruto? Kankuro asked, narrowing his eyes. Temari facepalmed. The boy Baki-sensei asked me to spy on, Temari answered. That aside, where is Gaara? Baki asked angrily. Kankuro and Temari realized that their cold, sadistic brother was on the loose, in a foreign village. The 2 scampered out of the room, hoping that Gaara hadn't lost control of himself. You're troublesome, you know that? Shikamaru asked with a lazy smirk as he spotted Naruto going towards the hospital. The blonde looked at him with a smile, and noticed the basket of fruits in his hand. Well, Jiraiya-sensei took me on a training trip. You are on a diet? He asked, pointing to the basket. Shikamaru shrugged. Choji. He was admitted here yesterday for indigestion. So, Jiraiya as in one of the Sannin? He asked as the pair entered the hospital. Yeah. Godfather, Naruto replied, making the pineapple-haired boy shake his head in exasperation. In which room is Rock Lee being taken care of? He asked the receptionist. The woman looked in confusion at the two pineapple-haired kids, one blonde while the other raven. A quick look over on the blonde one made her realize who the boy was. It's great to see you back again, Naruto-kun. Where had you disappeared for a month? And your friend, Lee, is in room 324, the receptionist answered with a small smile. Naruto nodded before dragging Shikamaru with him. You didn't have to pull away from her like that, Shikamaru reprimanded. Naruto scowled back at him. I don't trust her. She has stopped me many times from entering the hospital from getting treated, Naruto retorted, making Shikamaru wince, knowing exactly why. They stopped in front of the room, spotting Sakura come with a bunch of flowers. The duo of boys assumed that it was for Lee. Naruto waved his hand to garner Sakura's attention. Hey Sakura! Are you here to check on Lee? Naruto questioned with a smile. The other two noted the omission of the Chan honorific. Sakura wasn't sure what to say about Naruto's changed appearance. She had to admit he looked great in the Konoha standard uniform, burnt orange flak jacket, and his hair tied up like Shikamaru's. Hi, she sounded it like a question, not sure how to greet a boy who had suddenly upped and disappeared for a month. I am not pulverizing you, because we are in a hospital, Baka. Don't make us worry like that again. Naruto smiled widely at the threat, before pushing open the door. I was with Jiraiya-sensei, Naruto replied, making Sakura exactly wonder who Jiraiya was. Definitely not Jiraiya of the Sannin, because someone like him wouldn't take in an idiot like Naruto, but someone like her Sasuke-kun. Sakura quickly changed the flowers, and stood opposite to Naruto and Shikamaru across Lee's bed. Shikamaru placed the basket of fruit on Lee's side table. Sakura looked sadly at Lee. He hasn't woken up since the fight. The doctor said that his career as a ninja is over. The only one who can heal him is Tsunade of the Sannin, but no one knows where she is. Sakura informed Naruto of the developments. Bachan and Jiraiya-sensei should in Ji-chan's office. I had some urgent work with Tachibana-san, so I parted ways with them, Naruto commented. Assuming she hasn't gone to a bar, she should still be in the office. Bachan? The other two wondered out in shock. Naruto looked at the pair confused, before rubbing the back of his head in embarrassment. I call Tsunade of the Sannin Bachan, Naruto clarified, making Sakura scowl. Show some respect to Tsunade-sama, Naruto. Sakura screamed furiously. The previous Naruto wouldn't have done this, but he pinned the pink-haired girl with a glare and flared his chakra, crushing Shikamaru along with Sakura. I knew he had a lot of chakra, but this amount is ridiculous. And I know this is his own chakra and not the Kyuubi's. It is troublesome to be a Jinchuriki, but if you get so much chakra, I don't see any problem in becoming one. Shikamaru thought the last part in envy. Sakura was paralyzed in fear, the same as against Zabuza and Orochimaru. This is same crushing pressure like Zabuza and Orochimaru. Even Kakashi-sensei couldn't match the latter. This is more than Kakashi-sensei pressure, she thought in fear. She has no problem if I call her that. And she is my aunt, so it doesn't concern you why I shouldn't call as such, Naruto said in a low voice. Boy, I wonder what I ever saw in her. I guess Jiraiya-sensei and Bachan helped me realize this without saying out aloud. I'm sorry! She squeaked in fear as Naruto's pressure lifted. Shikamaru whacked the blonde in the head. Watch your troublesome chakra, you idiot! Even I was getting crushed under it, Shikamaru reprimanded the blonde. Naruto got an embarrassment blush. Sorry, Naruto laughed out while rubbing the back of his head. Suddenly, Naruto gazed at the window behind Sakura. You can come out, you know. I can sense your bloodlust, Gaara, he said calmly, shocking the duo with him. Soon enough, sand flooded in the room, Gaara standing over Lee beside Sakura. Before the other three could comprehend, Naruto had brought Sakura over to his and Shikamaru's side. Sakura, bring some Jonin here. Go! He instructed the pink-haired girl. She instantly bolted out of the room in fear. Shikamaru instantly paralyzed Gaara in his shadow possession jutsu, but wasn't quickly enough to stop his sand from encircling Lee's vital points. What are you doing here, Gaara? Naruto asked in a threatening voice. What were you trying to do to bushy brows? I was trying to kill him, Gaara replied emotionlessly. Shikamaru looked in shock at the redhead's audacity. How can be so calm when saying that? How can he be so calm when paralyzed with shadow possession jutsu? Shikamaru thought between fear and shock. Why would you try something like that? You beat him in a match, right? Do you some personal grudge against him? It's nothing like that. I just wanted to kill him, that's it, Gaara responded. I can sense a bijou inside him. It's that same kind of hatred which I feel from the Kyuubi, but this has glee and deviousness mixed into it. Why am I able to sense emotions? I can feel Shikamaru's fear, Gaara's own coldness, as well as Sakura's fear downstairs, Naruto thought in shock. How can you say something so selfish, you bastard? Why are you so selfish? You had a lousy upbringing, didn't you? Shikamaru asked in shock. This guy is giving me chills. If you get in my way, I'll kill both too, Gaara threatened emotionlessly. Naruto held his hands up in surrender, shocking Shikamaru. You are free to try that, you bastard, he retorted with a wide smirk. Naruto! Shikamaru exclaimed in shock. Let's try with a bluff. You may be strong in competition to him, but we can keep with you. We didn't show our true strength in the preliminaries, I'll tell you again. I will kill you if you get in my way. Gaara ignored their words. You are just one, we have three, Shikamaru remarked, making Naruto frown. We are two, Shika, he corrected his friend. Plus one fox inside your stomach. That guy should at least pay you rent, Shikamaru replied, making Naruto freeze. How do you know? Naruto asked, completely forgetting about Gaara. If one has enough brains, you can figure it out. Now leave that. We need to deal with this guy here, Naruto, Shikamaru responded. The fox, eh? Even I have a monster sealed inside me. The sand spirit Shikaku was sealed within me before I was born. I took the life of a woman whom you call mother as soon as I was born. I killed to prove my existence and become the strongest shinobi. Well, the Kyuubi is said to be strongest one out there. Also, I don't think he messes with Naruto's head like Shikaku, Shikamaru commented. You know, Gaara, you should really go back. You have the finals tomorrow. You don't want to be stranded in the middle of nowhere, do you? Naruto asked calmly. I don't know my strength right now, but I can tell for sure. You won't kill bushy brows under my watch. The only one who has been able to subdue me is my father. Even his assassins after me were easily killed, Gaara commented. Naruto let a single chuckle loose. Your father is a certified crackhead. Well, both of us had Biju sealed inside by our fathers, so we are the same there. But my father is far different than yours. I don't know much about him, only what Jiraiya sensei and Bachan told me. But even if he isn't there, I know that he loved me till his last breath, Naruto stated before sighing. Well, you should be going now, he muttered before disappearing in an orange flash. Gaara stiffened, feeling cold steel at his throat. I don't want to kill you. But I won't hesitate if you threaten my friends, Naruto continued. It's a good thing that Shikamaru kept talking to Gaara and distracted him. My seal wouldn't have reached him if he had spotted it. Shikamaru narrowed his eyes. Right now, it wasn't Shunshin. It's like he just teleported there. I didn't see him anywhere in between, he thought as he watched cautiously on how things would play out. What was that speed? He was standing in front of me and came behind me in an instant. It wasn't speed like that, boys, Gaara thought in fear, a gulp causing the kunai to almost nick his skin. Boys. The finals are tomorrow. There's no need to be in such a hurry, Guy remarked from the doorway, maintaining a calm face at Naruto's position. We couldn't get in with his speed, so how is Naruto holding a kunai to his throat? Guy thought in shock. Sakura shared the same thought. Gaara looked at his odds. He could kill the girl, the pineapple-haired ravenhead, and the boy in coma. He wasn't sure about the sensei, and the boy holding the kunai to his throat. He slowly walked to the doorway, his eyes having a mad glint. I will kill you all with fail. Just wait, he stated before going out of the room. Naruto needed to talk with Jiraiya and Hiruzen. The Kazekage was an idiot, and he wanted to knock some sense into that bastard. Shikamaru and Naruto had walked together all day long. The duo had visited all of the Rookie 9 as well as Tenten. Shikamaru had explained how he, Choji and Kiba came at the conclusion that Naruto had held the Kyuubi, and that they wouldn't treat him any different, especially after seeing Gaara's behavior. Why are we here again? Shikamaru asked with a frown. You have to be troublesome and buy the weapons at the last moment? Naruto scowled at that. I had given an order for custom kunais, which should be done by now, Naruto commented before entering the shop. The jingle of bells shook Tachibana out of his reverie, before beaming at Naruto. Ah. Naruto. Here for your kunais? The man asked, beaming. Naruto nodded back with a smile. Hey. Aren't you the Nara kid who is going up against the girl who defeated Tenten? Ah. Yes. Temari from Sunagakure, Shikamaru supplied, before peeking at the kunais which Tachibana had brought. That's an unusual design, he commented, seeing the tri-pronged kunais. Because they are special, Naruto replied with a smug smile. I know that. Shikamaru retorted. So, are this your troublesome secret weapons? Shikamaru-kun, you will know tomorrow. I have packed a camera, and a spare too if something happened to it, Tachibana said, making Naruto's sweat drop. You are going overboard, Tachibana-san, Naruto murmured in embarrassment. I am completely confused, Shikamaru remarked, looking between the other two males. The Higurashi laughed heartily. All in due time, Shikamaru-kun. But if what Tenten said was right, Niji is digging his own grave right now, Tachibana muttered, making Shikamaru raise a brow. What I mean is, the move Niji is trying his practice, is as good as suicide against Naruto right now. Shikamaru just nodded before dragging Naruto out. I know you are hiding something big, Shikamaru hissed. Naruto nodded. Well, I didn't want riots in Konoha, so tomorrow I will reveal the secret, Naruto replied. Now let's get some ramen, he exclaimed happily. Well, he is still the ramen-loving idiot, Shikamaru thought with a smile. His brows reached his hairline seeing his opponent at the ramen stand arriving after them. He took a seat far from her, deeming her to be too troublesome. Temari! It's great to see you. Naruto greeted his fellow blonde with a smile. Shikamaru rose a brow at the familiarity present between the pair. You really helped me with tying my hair up. Shikamaru spit out his ramen in shock. He coughed a bit before Ayam gave him some water. Alright. He didn't see this coming. Seeing the red tint on Temari's cheeks, Shikamaru had an urge to face bomb. Great, another girl smitten after Naruto, and boy is still as dense as ever. So I never caught why you wanted to tie your hair up, Temari suddenly remarked. Naruto just smiled innocently. If I know Jiraiya-sensei, he has already gone and done that. You will come to know tomorrow during the finals, Naruto replied, making Temari frown. She huffed, before eating her freshly served ramen. His face then turned serious. Temari, you are Gaara's elder sister, right? Naruto asked as Temari nodded, not happy where this was going. Your father is a crackhead nutjob, you know that? Shikamaru this time choked on the water at Naruto's audacity, Temari too gaping at the blonde. What's that supposed to mean? Temari asked in shock. Well, Shika and I had a little altercation with Gaara and you had a kunai at Gaara's neck, Shikamaru butted in. And Gaara was about to kill Lee. Temari felt like smacking her head on the table at her brother's idiocy. Yeah, as I said, a little altercation. Is your father on some high to send assassins after his own son? Naruto asked with a scowl. Shikamaru could swear that Naruto would get himself killed because of his audacity. Trash talking is one thing, but insulting on one face, you had to have guts. Temari for the first time actually pondered on that. Though she had to commend the blonde's audacity to actually tell such about her father in front of her. Who knows, Temari replied. Naruto nodded as if it was nothing out of the ordinary. Shikamaru seriously doubted the sanity of the blondes beside him. Troublesome blondes, he muttered under his breath, making Ayam snigger from across him. He rose a brow as Naruto laid out a scroll on the table, before unsealing some tags from a storage seal, out of the many seals on that scroll. Shikamaru decided he didn't want to know what they exactly held. Ever. Naruto handed those tags to Temari, with a smile. These are chakra suppression tags, meant to work against Biju chakra. They can suppress up to 4 tails of chakra, Naruto remarked. And can you pass a message to whoever sealed Shikaku into Gaara? Naruto asked as Temari examined the tags. The kanji of suppress was written in the middle, with symbols all around. The girl nodded, actually looking forward to the insults her fellow blonde would come up with. Tell that world-renowned idiot, you can't seal a Biju inside a freaking extra-large storage seal. Everybody looked at him in shock at the statement. What do you mean by that? Shikamaru asked as Temari nodded in agreement. Well, when I had a kunai to Gaara's throat, I actually seeped my chakra around to check what the actual hell was up with the seal, Naruto confessed, making Temari send him a comical look. Don't you act. I know that you know about the fox. I am able to sense emotions, but only a little bit. The ones I can distinguish are fear, bloodlust and hatred, Naruto remarked as Temari nodded. Well, the only Jinchuriki I ever knew was Gaara, and you know how he is, Temari said in a sad tone. I thought that all of the Biju made their hosts into bloodthirsty monsters, Naruto snorted. That must be Shikaku. The Kyuubi, when I talked to it on Jiraiya-sensei's advice, was only rambling about how he would kill me after he breaks out. Well, I know the chances are less, because my hack Fuin has a key, and it's with the toads. So, when I checked Gaara's seal, it was just an extra-large storage seal made by combining 3 normal storage seals at specific intervals in his chakra system. The seal should only be anchored to one point. Mine in my belly's tenketsu. Gaara's is at a tenketsu of his belly, as well as his heart, and below the back of his neck. No wonder Shikaku has been manipulating directly connected to his nerves, and having 3 anchor points, Naruto explained as everybody dumbly nodded. Tochi understood the seal part, but not the tenketsu. So, in simple words, the one who did the seal was an amateur? Shikamaru asked as Naruto and Tochi nodded. Temari rose a brow at the blonde's breakdown of the seal. If it was true, she was going to have some words with Chio. Thank you, Temari said with a bow, tears visible around the edges of her eyes. I did nothing. After tomorrow's finals, you go to Jiraiya-sensei. He will surely design a seal that will suit Gaara and Shikaku, Naruto replied. Temari gave a small nod. Everybody in Konoha is so warm-hearted. The Hokage, a Jinchuriki who has suffered as bad as Gaara, but still haven't lost hope. Would Gaara have turned out different, if Tusama was more better of a father to him? Temari thought distantly. She looked at the blonde, who was waving his hand in front of her face. What? She snapped in a harsh tone, before wincing at how she sounded. Sorry, it's nothing. I asked you 3 times about what you wanted to become, you know? Like some Kazekage, or so, Naruto said, cocking his head sideways. Cute, Temari thought absent-mindedly. Well, I have never thought about it, because my father is the Kazekage, and I have been always hailed as a prodigy in battle fan handling, Temari replied, before averting her face and eating her own dish to hide her blush. What made me think he was cute? I mean, he did ugh. Alright, something is definitely wrong with me. Yeah, you did some number on Tenten in the preliminaries. Well, it's a good thing that I have friend in Suna higher circle. After I become the Hokage, I will at least know someone with whom I can try to bring real peace in the elemental nations, Naruto remarked, making Temari frown. Real peace? What do you mean by that? Temari asked as she pushed back her finished bowl. Well, Jiraiya-sensei says that the alliance we have right now are just for namesake. Every village is itching to declare war on a drop of a hat. Peace cannot be achieved if we just keep doubting each other. I want to become the Hokage to bring peace to the elemental nations. I can say that there are selfish intentions behind it, because I don't want any kid to go through what Gaara and I have experienced. Even for the Bijus. For years, I had thought of Konoha as a prison until I met Iruka-sensei. I hated being caged. Why can't the Bijus hate us for imprisoning them? If there is peace, no Jinchurikis will be created, and the Bijus will be free. It's a win-win for everybody, Naruto said passionately. Temari and Ayam were unsure what to say, while Tsuchi gave a proud smile. Shikamaru chuckled before laughing loudly. You know, Naruto, I have never admitted this to anyone, but for some reason, you make me follow you. It's troublesome to know that I have to work hard in the next few years. I want to be there to help you when the time comes, Shikamaru stated with a wide smile. Seriously, you are troublesome. Who are these people really? They just want to coexist in peace. Orochimaru told us that Konoha shinobi are just a bunch of idiots, and I agree with him. They are idiots who work hard just for the sake of maintaining peace, Temari thought, bewildered. Will you change your goals tomorrow, or will you still strive for peace knowing that one of your friends has betrayed you? Just don't die tomorrow, Uzumaki Naruto. The stadium was abuzz, the crowd murmuring to each other about that day's matches. Especially, Hyuga Neji against Uzumaki Naruto, and Uchiha Sasuke against Gaara. Well, the first one was because the Hyuga prodigy going against the village outcast, and the other because of the last loyal Uchiha against Tsuna's Jinchuriki. Temari looked worriedly at the clock. 3 minutes before start, and there was still no sign of the blonde she met the previous evening. She had an unbridled urge to wipe the smirk off that Hyuga's cocky face. The Naruto she had come to know wasn't anything like she had seen in the preliminaries. The month away had changed him, and her opinion of his. Her stomach churned as the clock struck at 30 seconds less, and still there wasn't a sign of the blonde. Shikamaru noticed her worry. He is Naruto. He will definitely come. I assume that he overslept or didn't slept because he was excited, Shikamaru murmured. Temari nodded slightly, trying to believe the boy. Kankuro's ears didn't miss the conversation. Genma left an exasperated sigh. That brat's match was first, and there was still no sign of him. Even with freaking 10 seconds remaining, before he got disqualified, Naruto was nowhere in sight. He sighed. Let's wait for another 5 minutes. If Uzumaki Naruto isn't here by then, Hyuga Neji is the winner of the first round, he announced, causing murmur among the crowd, all scorning the Jinchuriki. Kiba's fist curled up in anger, as he heard comments passing around the crowd. Hinata sensed his anger, putting a hand over his shoulder to try and calm him down. He sighed, realizing that he had gotten too worked up. Sorry for that, he muttered. The duo was brought out by a cold voice from behind them. You shouldn't leak killing intent around like that, boy, the voice remarked, making Hinata wince. To-sama, Hanabi-chan, Hinata greeted nervously. There was a sudden crack of laughter behind them, making the five look at the source. What looked like a grown-up male version of Tenten was cackling, with an embarrassed Tenten beside him. Is something wrong? Hayashi asked coldly. Tachibana shook his head. Just the irony. The repeat of the same incident of the Chunin exams in our generation, Tachibana replied, making everybody look at him in confusion. Kiba glared at the man, thinking he was thinking something bad about Naruto. Naruto isn't like you all think. Kiba was cut off by Tachibana. Brat. I ain't talking about him. What I am saying is, Neji lost the moment Naruto came and gave me the order for his new weapons. Neji can never win against Naruto. Not at least until that brat learns humility, Tachibana commented, making Hayashi glared heatedly. We will see who wins, Tachibana-san, Hayashi responded coldly. Tachibana shook his head, his eyes gleaming with mirth. Well, you seem to be too confident about him. I know what Naruto is planning to do. I want a picture of your shocked face when Naruto uses it, Tachibana replied, shaking the camera in his hand. Everybody else gaped at the audacity of the man. Hayashi rose a brow at the challenge. If that Uzumaki loses, you will write a letter of apology addressed to Neji, the Hyuga clan and me, as well as other compensations for making unsavory comments about the Hyuga, Hayashi replied coldly while narrowing his eyes. Tachibana shrugged. I don't care about that, the man replied, making Hayashi frown. Hayashi guided Hanabi 2 seats to Tachibana's left, while he took the seat between them. Naruto's audacity and idiocy has rubbed off my old man. And that idiot is nowhere in sight, Tenten thought in frustration. Genma sighed, before smirking at the worried look on Temari's face. He shook his head. The boy still nowhere in sight. 3 minutes had already passed in the extended time. Neji smiled cockily at Genma. You should already declare the outcome, Genma-san. He has probably realized that he was fated to lose and ran away. And it was fated that I would win, he remarked coldly. Temari knuckles cracked, making Kankuro inch away from her while Genma and Shikamaru smirked. The latter put a hand on her shoulder to calm her down. Temari has come pretty close to that pineapple and that idiot blonde. Is she working with the Konoha ninjas? Kankuro thought, narrowing his eyes at her sister. Stop being a troublesome douchebag, Niji. Considering Naruto, that idiot has overslept, Shikamaru responded. Shino nodded in agreement at that conclusion. That sounds very Naruto-like, Shino commented. Genma shook his head, remembering a certain redhead's tendencies. Suddenly there was a puff of smoke near them, before a blonde with his hair tied up like the Nara's standard Konoha uniform, and a burnt orange flak jacket. He rubbed his head in embarrassment, knowing he was late. Ah. Sorry about that. I had forgotten that the exams started at 9. I assumed it was at 10, until, Naruto shivered at the way he was woken up. I would rather not speak about that. I may need a place to stay until my home's wall is repaired. The others unanimously decided they didn't want to know. I was wondering when you would turn up, Naruto. You were almost disqualified, Genma warned as the blonde nodded, knowing the Jonin was right. The other participants, please go to the competitor's box. Other than Hyuga, Niji, and Uzumaki Naruto, he instructed as the genin shuffled back to the box, leaving only a lone Jonin, an uninterested genin, and a cocky genin. Are Hyuga, Niji, and Uzumaki Naruto ready? Genma asked as he chewed on his saman. Up in the Kage box, Tsunade entered huffing, Jiraiya cowering away at a distance. The Kazekage scowled under his veil seeing the pair, while Hiruzen raised a brow. Your genin seems to have a bad understanding about the essence of time, Raza commented, seeing Naruto enter the arena so late. He thought the exams were an hour later. Tsunade commented, exasperated. That sounds like him, Hiruzen muttered under his breath, before gazing as Genma put his hand down as a signal to start the match. He gasped seeing the kata Naruto had taken. He glanced at Jiraiya, but said nothing. On the other end in the stands, Guy leaned forward and gripped in steel railings tightly in shock, a gasp escaping his lips. That can't be Dash, he mumbled, making Asuma and Kurenai frown. What happened, Guy? Asuma asked as he took in a drag of smoke. Guy pointed to Naruto's stance as Sakura, Ino and Choji looked at their sensei in interest. That stance there is unique. If I think what it is, Niji is equally matched in taijutsu with Naruto, Guy answered, his eyes still wide in shock. Down in the arena, Naruto yawned, dropping his stance for an instant. Niji scowled at his laid-back nature. Fate has decreed me to be the winner. You should forfeit, Niji spoke up loudly. Naruto turned his head sideways with an innocent expression. I'm sorry. I was woken up in a rough manner, so I am still sleepy. So, what did you say? Naruto asked, making Niji's temper rise. The stadium laughed at the response, angering Niji more. Nothing. I will show you why fate has decreed me as the winner of this match, Niji remarked before rushing forward in a burst of speed, aiming a strike at Naruto's heart. His speed has increased, Naruto noted as he pushed away the strike with his right palm, re-aiming it downwards on his left. Niji's balance became uneven at the counter, not expecting it. Naruto quickly brought up his left fist, which was directly in front of Niji's stomach, sending the Hyuga prodigy staggering back. So you have learned a few tricks, eh? But still you aren't going to win today. It's my fate to win, Niji stated before falling into a stance for a move he had leaned recently. Jukenho, Hak Rokujian Sho, 8 trigrams, 64 palms, Niji called out, making the Hyugas gasp in shock. Up in stands, Hayashi looked with wide shocked eyes, with a hint of pride. He just learned it from seeing us. Hizashi, you would be so proud of Niji, he thought with a small smile. Hanabi, look closely. This is the reason why Niji is hailed as a prodigy. What happened next shocked everybody in the stadium. Niji burst forward at a greater speed, closing 16 of Naruto's tenketsu before the blonde could comprehend, and was left defenseless for the remaining 48 strikes. The result was a prone and groaning Naruto lying on the ground. Niji smirked seeing the blonde's state, before gazing at the proctor. He won't be getting up after this, he remarked coldly. Genma looked sadly at the blonde, before walking forward. In the competitor's box, Shikamaru and Temari winced at Naruto's condition, everybody else pitying the boy for being put up against Niji. I guess he was just all talk, Hokage Dano, Raza commented. Hiruzen closed his eyes knowing that Naruto had lost badly and quickly. The winner of this match is. Genma was cut off when a part of ground in the arena broke, a confused blonde surfacing from it. Everybody looked at the two Narutos in shock, the shinobi realizing what Naruto had exactly used. I hope I am not late. I had sent a Kage Bunshin ahead while I got ready and contracted a mason to fix my apartment's wall, Naruto stated, before wincing at the state his Bunshin was in. You finally showed up, eh? The Bunshin murmured before poofing out in a burst of smoke. Silence reigned in the stadium at the blonde's audacity, only to be broken by Tachibana's howl of laughter. Soon enough, everybody was laughing at the events which played out. That took the cake. Jiraiya exclaimed, making Tsunade scowl. That brat. He pulled a fast one on me. The woman snarled in anger. Jiraiya. He has taken up your worst habits. Hiruzen snapped his head towards the pair behind him at that statement. Jiraiya, I hope you didn't make him read you well, you know. His mother will kill you, Hiruzen said nervously. Suddenly a laugh and a new voice was heard from behind Jiraiya. A small red toad appeared on his Jiraiya head, cackling madly. Kichi? What are you doing here? Jiraiya asked, making the toad scowl. I wanted to see Naruto's match. And they are pieces of filth which should be burned, because throwing them away would defile the trash. That's what Naruto said. Gamakichi imitated Naruto, making Hiruzen snort, knowing he had heard the same words before. What is Tsunade doing here? Isn't she supposed to be hating Konoha and on the run from debt collectors with her apprentice? Raza thought with a frown. Asuma snorted at Naruto's subtle way of telling Niji F***ku. Apparently, Choji decided to say that loud. Wow, that the most subtle F***ku I have ever heard, he said, munching on chips. The spectators around him snickered at the interpretation of event from the boy. Well, you are right about that, Kurenai muttered with a smile. You seriously don't know the predicament you are in, do you? Niji asked coldly. You will lie the same way as your Kage Bunshin since I am fated to win here, he added, falling into the same stance as before. Jikenho, Hakurokuji on show. The spectators expected the same result as before, however Naruto expertly redirected or dodged all the strikes from an increasingly bewildering Niji. As soon as the attack sequence finished, Niji looked at the blonde with wide eyes. How? He wondered out in shock. Hayashi and the other Hyugas too shared the same question. Well, Jiraiya-sensei had mentioned that the Jukin is pretty damn fast, and I wasn't taught any taijutsu in the academy. So, I learned a completely new style from a scroll which Jiraiya-sensei had. The hummingbird, Naruto explained as the shinobi from the Third War gasped in shock. Wasn't that Yandame-sama personal style? Asuma asked Guy as the green spandex-wearing man nodded. It focuses on speed, accuracy and power, whereas Jukin is only speed and accuracy with chakra strikes. It doesn't have any power, and can be redirected if someone is fast, Guy commented, making the genins look ahead in shock, realizing that Naruto had progressed far more than they had expected. Hayashi too had the same thoughts as Guy. I have never heard of it, Niji remarked with a scowl. Because the last person who knew this was the Yandame, Naruto responded, shocking the entire stadium. I wanted to ask you, why do you treat Hinata so badly? Isn't she your sister? Niji scowled at that, before unwrapping his hitate and explaining about the caged bird seal and the incident with Kuma where Hizashi was sacrificed in place of Hayashi. A/N. I am pretty sure everybody know what Niji monologues about in the middle of the match. If anybody hasn't seen it in the anime, please see it. You don't understand how it is to be tied down by a seal, Niji snarled while tying his hitate back. In the stands, Kiba scowled. You bastard! Naruto knows the burden of a seal better than anyone among us. You aren't the only one with a sob story. You at least had you clan, Kiba muttered in a low voice. Tachibana and Hayashi realized what he was referring to, and paled, thinking if their own children knew. Choji, Shikamaru and Temari, to an extent, shared the same thought. I still don't get it. Hinata was 3, you said, right? How was she supposed to fight a Jonin 10 times her size? It's like threatening the Kyuubi with a wooden kunai, Naruto replied, making a few people snort at the notion of going against the Kyuubi like that as utter idiocy. Who knew that guy could crack a pun like that? Shikamaru asked dryly, the irony only caught by Temari. Naruto scratched his head unsurely. This time I will say, give up. It's not fate has decided me as a victor, but, Naruto paused, drawing 2 kunais from his kunai holster. Kunai Kage Bunshin. Naruto called out, throwing and making the peculiar hand seal, as the 2 kunais multiplied into 100. Niji watched in shock as the rain on metal advanced towards him. I guess I have no choice, he thought before spinning rapidly around his spot, creating a dome of chakra and scattering the kunai around the arena battlefield. Naruto, and in the stands, Tachibana facepalmed, while the Hyugas looked at Niji in shock. Tusama, isn't that dash? Hanabi asked in shock as Hayashi nodded. That why? Hayashi was cut off by Tachibana and Naruto speaking in unison. You have dug your own grave. You should have dodged that assault, and not foolishly spread the kunai around, the two said in unison, making everybody in the arena frown. An inkling of idea crept into Jiraiya's mind, of what possibly Naruto was talking about. What are you talking about? Niji asked in pure confusion for the first time, dropping his cold mask. Naruto sighed heavily with a smile. I guess I have no choice, then, Naruto stated before loosening his hitate and hairband from his pineapple-shaped style, letting them fall down freely. Quickly, he pulled up 2 bangs to frame his face, and tied the hitate back, leaving his hair in a spiky mess as usual. Seeing the changed appearance, the entire arena became silent. A few were gaping with their eyes wide, some were trying to form words but nothing came out of his mouth, while a small fraction fainted. Utter silence reigned, making the newer generation wondered what's wrong. They were broken out of their stupor by their Hokage's furious and exasperated voice. You told him, didn't you? Jiraiya? Hiruzen exclaimed in exasperation, while gazing at the said man, newest student down in the arena. Jiraiya gave him an innocent expression in return. I guess it slipped out, you know? About Minato being his father and all, Jiraiya replied, his voice echoing around the arena because of the speakers fitted around. I guess? Jiraiya! Hiruzen exclaimed in shock at his student's audacity. Elsewhere, every Kanahigaku residence digested the information. The village pariah, the baby chosen to house the Kyuubi, was none other than their beloved Yandame's own son. And they had treated him like trash. Everybody shivered remembering something. When Minato wanted things to get hurt, by God they would get hurt. and their beloved Yandane could very well kill them for treating his son so badly. Raza and Baki paled, realizing what Naruto was exactly using. If the preteen wanted, he could take care of their invasion alone. There was a new Kiroi Senko, Yellow Flash, apparently the original Kiroi Senko's son. I thought the Byakugan could see through everything, right? Naruto asked rhetorically. Then you should have seen that the kunai I threw weren't normal. The realization dawned on the shinobi faction, as they stared back at the infamous tri-pronged kunai, the so-called manifestation of death in the Third War. Hayashi looked shocked at his neighbor, who was busy clicking pictures of the shocked faces around him. Hayashi sighed heavily. Niji has indeed lost, he confessed to Hanabi and Hinata. Kiba and Tenten looked between Tachibana and Hayashi in confusion. You were right, Tachibana-san. Niji had already lost before the match even started, he admitted, shocking the four kids more. The jutsu Naruto will use was the reason why Naruto's father, the Yandame, was called the Yellow Flash of Konoha. Elsewhere, Asuma cigarette dropped from his mouth, Kurenai eyes widened to the size of saucers, and Guy face-bombed at Niji's cockiness, since he had already spotted the kunai in Naruto's hand. I mean, I knew Naruto being Yandame-sama's son, but seriously? He mastered Hiraishin? In a month? Asuma wondered out, shocking the genin seated with them. Hiraishin as in the jutsu of the Yandame Hokage? Sakura asked as Kurenai nodded. That alone makes him an S-rank shinobi, with a flea on sight and bingo book, Guy replied, shocking the genins more. Right now, Niji cannot touch Naruto. He can flash around any of the littered kunais around him, and counterattack Niji, he added before frowning. Where the hell is Kakashi at such a time? Asuma and Kurenai shrugged. Sakura looked at Naruto with wide eyes. She hated to admit, but Naruto could be powerful than her Sasuke-kun. Ino too couldn't believe how much Naruto had progressed in a month. Choji shook his head while chuckling. Well, he is Konoha's #1 unpredictable, knucklehead ninja, Choji remarked. You aren't wrong about that, Choji-kun, Kurenai agreed from behind him. Niji looked at the kunais in confusion, not understanding what it really meant. A few kunais aren't going to help you win. It's my fate to win. Gunma opened his mouth to speak something, entirely unsure of how to make that cocky boy realize that he had lost. Naruto craned his head sideways, thinking about how to pull out the stick from Niji's behind. Naruto made a cross-hand seal. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Naruto called out as 3 solid copies materialized beside him. The next instant, the 3 clones vanished, jumping around the kunai markers surrounding Niji. Everybody looked bewildered at such an application of Hiraishin and Kage Bunshin. This was beyond what they had expected for the matches. The original Naruto held a kunai in reverse grip, eyeing Niji coldly. The Hyuga prodigy looked bewildered around him as the clones kept jumping around the markers. Niji knew that there was no point in attacking them, because the speed was beyond what he could comprehend. An idea came to his mind. Hakusho Kaiten. Like the last time, Niji created a spinning dome of chakra, a bigger one at that, destroying the Kage Bunshin, as well as the Kage Bunshin kunais, only leaving the 2 original Hiraishin kunais. As soon as Niji stopped, he smirked at Naruto. Now I destroyed all those Bunshin kunais. I took away your advantage. Naruto frowned at his kunais being destroyed, before disappearing in a small orange flash. Everybody gasped as Niji felt a kunai to his throat, his eyes widening as Naruto completely disappeared from his sight before reappearing behind him. I could have ended this match, as soon as I had entered the arena, Niji. My clone had already marked you with my Hiraishin formula, when he redirected the first strike. If you were an enemy, I could have killed you 1,000 times over by now, Naruto remarked. Even if I were in your place, I wouldn't treat Hinata like that. She is your sister. And I just showed you, fate can be changed. If everything was fated, I would have been rotting away somewhere, waiting to die. But Ji-chan, Iruka-sensei, Kakashi-sensei and Jiraiya-sensei changed that. There is no such fragile thing as fate, Niji. You make your own fate, with your actions, Naruto stated quietly before slamming the hilt of the kunai in Niji's neck, knocking the boy unconscious. Gunma smirked at the outcome, before walking ahead as the medical team came to check up on Niji. The winner of the first match is Uzumaki Namikaze's Naruto, Gunma announced to the shocked silent crowd. Soon everybody broke in cheers seeing their beloved Yandame's son win. Shikamaru whistled in the competitor's box. That was the most troublesome one-sided beatdown I have ever witnessed, he remarked, the others wordlessly agreeing with him. Gaara, on the other hand, looked at Naruto with bloodthirsty eyes. A hint of a proud smile rose on Tamari's face seeing Naruto walk back to the box. In the Kage box, everybody was still speechless. Hiruzen turned to Jiraiya with wide eyes. How does he know the Hiraishin? That aside, how did he complete Fuinjutsu in a month? He asked as Raza leaned in interest. Jiraiya shrugged. I didn't know he had completed the Hiraishin formula. But you know, spamming 100 Kage Bunshin, for 12 hours for a month, is equivalent to almost 8.5 years of experience, Jiraiya answered, shocking Hiruzen. I seriously hate Kage Bunshin now, Hiruzen muttered, making Gamakichi Hala laugh. This was Naruto's message for you. Kage Bunshin's memory can be used to do paperwork, the toad commented smugly as Hiruzen smacked his head in his palm repeated times. I am an idiot. I love Kage Bunshin. He exclaimed happily, while a smirk rose on Raza's face. It's sad that you come to know of such a trick just before you die, sensei. But still, that brat has become a bigger thorn than sensei, Jiraiya and Tsunade combined. I could have marked him instead of Sasuke-kun, but I don't know how it will react to the Kyuubi's chakra, Raza thought with a frown. He can get a promotion, don't you think, Kazekage-dano? Hiruzen asked as Raza nodded. Hiraishin is definitely a dangerous jutsu under anyone's belt. Your yondaime had brought the third war to a close just with Hiraishin, Raza replied, before raising a brow at a brooding Jiraiya. What's the matter, Jiraiya-dano? I was so looking forward to see the damage Naruto can do with what I taught him. But it was good that he didn't show it, Jiraiya said the last part happily. Hiruzen and Raza just rose a brow, not understanding what Jiraiya was talking about. All blondes are troublesome. You, your father, Ino, Tsunade-sama, Temari, and the list goes on, Shikamaru remarked as Naruto entered the box. Quickly he dodged a kunai from an aforementioned girl. Will Sabaku no Gaara and Uchiha Sasuke make their way to the field? Genma announced from the arena. Genma sighed seeing that another member of Team 7 wasn't on time. He was ready to jump away any moment, because of Gaara's intense bloodlust. He sighed looking at the pocket watch as the time ticked to the end of buffer period for Sasuke's arrival. Kakashi's habits are rubbing off his students, he thought before pocketing the watch. Uchiha Sasuke has been disqualified for. Genma was cut off when two Shunshins appeared on his either two sides. Are we late? A lazy voice asked from one of the leaf tornadoes. As soon as the tornadoes died, everybody cheered for the Uchiha's fancy arrival. Jiraiya opposite to the pair shook his head before looking at Genma. The Kazekage had asked to postpone Gaara's and Sasuke's match, as he wanted to see their fight. But seeing that the brat is here, you can continue, Jiraiya stated before disappearing. Kakashi nodded at Sasuke, before smiling and using Shunshin to appear near his fellow Jonin. Was Naruto found? He asked Asuma. The three Jonin snorted. Jiraiya-sama had kidnapped Naruto. And just before this, we had the most one-sided beatdown in the Chunin exam's history, Asuma answered. Kakashi winced thinking Naruto had been beaten badly. It was actually great to see Neji bewildered when none of his 64 strikes landed on Naruto. Choji spoke up, confusing Kakashi. What do you mean, Choji? The Hitaki asked in confusion. Asuma shook his head at the question. Neji couldn't land a single blow on Naruto, Kurenai explained. Naruto was playing around with Neji. It was quite a shock to see Naruto dance around with the Hiraishin. Hiraishin? Kakashi stressed out, not believing his ears. And he also took up the mantle of Namikaze, Asuma added, making Kakashi gape underneath his mask. What possessed him to do that? Kakashi asked, bewildered. Well, he used the Hiraishin, so it's safe to assume that he is a seal master, better than Jiraiya-sama, Guy remarked. And there was a reason why your sensei was given a flea on sight during the Third War. Right now, he has the capability to settle any wars alone. Kakashi nodded at the breakdown. IW8 and Kyumo knew the fear of Hiraishin to their core, and if the son of the Kiroi Senko popped up, they wouldn't try anything like the Hyuga affair. Down in the arena, Sasuke gave a cocky smirk to Gaara. In return, Gaara gave a bloodthirsty look to the Uchiha. As soon as Genma dropped his hand down, the Jonin ran away, not trusting the Sune Jinchuriki. Gaara's maniac smile widened, as sand rushed out from his gourd towards Sasuke. The Uchiha kept dodging with Shunshin, not being able to close the distance. The sand was damn fast, and only susceptible to right-on attacks. He knew he could be on the defensive for the whole match. It was useless. Waiting to find a weak point with his Sharingan, he immediately Shunshined behind Gaara, seeing an opening in Gaara's attack. Before his fist could connect, a wall of sand blocked his punch. Realizing the position he was in, Sasuke got chills seeing Gaara's smirk. A Shunshin away, and a huge volume of sand crashed where he was previously. That was too close. But Sasuke thought with a smirk, going in for the same attack again. This time, as soon as the Sharingan caught the movement of the sand forming a barrier, he Shunshin to Gaara's opposite side, the small and precise Shunshin making the blow land on Gaara's other cheek on which he hadn't expected. The redhead staggered back, his mad smile widening. This is amazing. Make me feel alive, Uchiha Sasuke. He wildly cackled, before sending another wave of sand towards Sasuke. The boy cursed at the amount of sand coming his way, dodging by Shunshin to the extreme ends of the arena. I will waste all my chakra in dodging, if I don't attack now, he thought with a scowl as he went through 3 hand seals. Right-hand chakra crackled in his hand, the sound of 1,000 chirping birds filling the area. Using another precise Shunshin, Sasuke appeared in front of Gaara. The latter's smirk widened as the barrier of sand rose to block Sasuke's attack. Suddenly, Gaara felt something warm fall on his legs and trickling down his torso, as well as a searing pain in his left shoulder. Gaara's eyeing widened in shock seeing the red liquid staining his hand. Blood? This is my blood. This is my blood. Gaara screamed as the sand started flowing around wildly, almost shaving of Sasuke's limb twice as he dodged. In the competitor's box, Naruto clutched one of his custom kunai, and a suppression tag in the other. Temari and Kankuro readied their battle fan and puppets respectively, both cautiously eyeing Naruto's hands. They knew his speed from his match. How does Naruto know about the invasion? No! That tag! It's the chakra suppressor, Temari thought in shock. He is planning to subdue Gaara before he transforms into Shikaku. We don't know what the tag exactly will do, but he should be let nowhere near Gaara. Neither his kunai. She sent a glance towards Kankuro, her eyes warning her of Naruto's intentions. What was I thinking? Temari isn't a traitor. I don't know what this Naruto kid is planning to do, but for some reason my instincts are warning me to actually take care of this blondie first, Kankuro thought as he extended his chakra strings to his puppet. Sasuke watched in horror as the sand formed a dome around Gaara, blocking all access inside. He felt chills going down his spine, as chakra spiked from within the dome, blinding his Sharingan. He watched in horror, as a half-transformed Gaara came out from the dome. What are you? Sasuke asked in shock seeing Gaara's state. The said boy cackled maniacally. Make me feel alive with your blood, Uchiha Sasuke. He shouted before lunging towards Sasuke. His speed has gone up. And wait. Why is there being a genjutsu getting casted? Sasuke thought in shock as he quickly dispelled the genjutsu with his Sharingan. Naruto and Shikamaru quickly realized the genjutsu, and dispelled it, the pair narrowly dodging the swing of Temari's fan aimed at the back of their heads. The two skidded to a halt a bit far from the Suna pair, Shino being held by Shikamaru. Quickly helping Shino with the genjutsu, Naruto looked sadly at Temari. I wanted to believe that Jiraiya-sensei was joking when he told that Suna along with Orochimaru and Otogeku are planning to invade Konoha. I was hoping the whole time since the finals started that Jiraiya-sensei and Ji-chan were just cracking a bad joke, Temari. The reason why I gave to the tags yesterday was to warn you that you should retreat, and you had no chance of successfully invading Konoha. I spent so much time perfecting the Hiraishin, so that maybe your father would realize that there was someone who could single-handedly stop the invasion, and stand back, Naruto remarked sadly. Everybody else's eyes widened. I could have killed Gaara, Kankuro, and you before you could have comprehended, but I wanted to give you a chance to think that what you were doing was only going to bring pain to both sides. Naruto's speech yesterday, he wanted to tell us war wasn't something he wanted. He was trying to hint at this and prevent it, Shikamaru and Temari thought in shock. Temari closed her eyes guiltily, a single tear escaping from her eye. Kankuro looked between her sister and the blonde unsurely. I am sorry, Naruto. But I am loyal to Suna. Your ambition is great, bringing peace to the elemental nations, because alliances are just for namesake. But this is a world where the fittest survive. For your ambition, you need to be powerful. To power your ideals, you need to have strength. Ideals without strength, and strength without ideals are meaningless, Temari replied sadly, readying her battle fan. Right now, I am your enemy. Naruto closed his eyes trying to sense the situation. He could feel Hiruzen, Jiraiya and Tsunade, fighting against the Kazekage, or Orochimaru. Naruto realized as he sensed the same chilling glee. He could feel Anbu and Jonins dealing with the enemy ninjas and huge snakes Orochimaru had summoned. He was suddenly assaulted by a sense of pain from many directions. The shinobi from both sides are in pain, and the greatest and undoubtedly Shikaku's and Gaara's. That Bachi seal is hurting them both. I can't kill Temari, Kankuro or anyone else for that matter. I need to help Shikaku and Gaara first, Naruto thought determined. I see. That is sad. Remember the tags I gave you yesterday, Temari? They weren't just suppressors. They had my Hiraishin formula embedded between the two layers of the paper, he remarked before vanishing from their sight. He planned to kill me from the start, didn't he? I never thought that I would die so early in life. Well, my only regrets are not being able to save Kachan, and not being there for Gaara when he needed us, Temari thought with a sad smile, before remembering a wide genuine grin. And not being able to tell that I like you, and dash, were her last thought before her vision became black. Kankuro could only comprehend the blonde attacking her sister, before his own world turned black. Shikamaru looked at the two prone bodies, before turning to Naruto. He laid a comforting hand on Naruto's shoulder, himself not expecting for their friend to suddenly turn her back on them. It alright, Naruto. Let's go over this later. We still need to take care of Gaara, Shikamaru remarked as Naruto sadly nodded. Shikaku's botch seal has made him go insane. The pain I am receiving from my sensing and making my head ache. We need to do something to stop this war, Shika, Naruto said before vanishing with Shino and Shikamaru, to the seal on Sakura. As soon as the trio had left, Baki arrived in the box, before gasping at prone bodies of Temari and Kankuro. His eyes softened before looking in the direction where Gaara had disappeared off to, the Uchiha in tow. He quickly left the scene, to go against the defending Konoha ninjas. The trio of boys appeared next to Sakura, who squeaked in shock seeing the three boys materialize out of nowhere. Naruto quickly searched for Kakashi, Guy, Kurenai and Asuma, spotting them fighting with the Suna or Oto ninjas. Using the element of surprise, and the speed of the hummingbird, Naruto attacked the unsuspecting ninjas. Kakashi rose a brow at Naruto's flashy arrival, with Shikamaru, Shino and Sakura in tow. Seeing the party of four, Asuma and Kurenai nodded to Kakashi. All four of you, go after Sasuke and Gaara. Naruto will be your leader, Kakashi ordered before engaging with the new wave of Oto and Suna ninjas. The four nodded before sprinting off in the direction Naruto sensed the previously fighting pair. Come on! Come on! Shikaku and Gaara are my top priority. The seal is on its limits. Before Shikaku's gets released, Naruto thought frantically. I need time to deal with Shikaku and fix the seal. Suddenly, he found himself in a sewer with a huge cage and a kanji for seal on it. He narrowed his eyes at the howling laughter from the darkness behind it. Ha ha ha! Save Shikaku? Stop the invasion by yourself? You're so naive, the voice boomed in howling laughter. I don't have time to hear your nonsense. There is a battle going outside, Naruto remarked coldly. You think you can stop the battle? Even if you stop them now, both sides will try to get revenge for those who have been killed. Hatred will be born, and a battle will break out again. You cannot stop those bloodthirsty shinobi from fighting forever. A year. 2 years? The shinobi will seek battle again, and you will realize how naive your idea is, the Kyuubi stated in anger. Naruto glared at him coldly, before gesturing his hand downwards. A torii gate materialized itself over the Kyuubi's head, pinning it down to the ground level. His temper flared at being subjugated by a human again, and struggled in vain to get free. He glared at Naruto, who appeared just some inches away from his eyes. You're the one who's naive. You gave up on finding peace. I know I won't be able to change the shinobi world so easily, but I want to create peace. Not one which we have now, but where even you live in peace and coexist with the humans, the blonde coldly retorted, before his eyes softened and gently touched the Kyuubi's fur below him. I know how it feels to be caged. You hate the one who cages you. Hatred will exist, but if we find a solution, we can stop people from going after revenge, he added softly, making the Kyuubi snarl. You will create peace and relieve my hatred? I am the embodiment of hatred itself, brat. Nobody can erase my hatred. The fox snarled, though Naruto ignored it. Nah, Kyuubi, someday I will come, and deal with your hate too. So, sit back for now, Naruto remarked with a wide smile, shocking the fox. I first need to help Shikaku, he added before exiting the cage. With a gesture, the torii gate poofed away, releasing the fox. The chakra being watched in shock and bewilderment as Naruto left the mindscape. What gives you so much confidence, Uzumaki Naruto? What gives you the hope that you will solve the hate plaguing the lands for centuries? The fox thought with a scowl. Naruto! Sakura shouted to get the blonde attention. Shikamaru frowned, seeing that Naruto's eyes were unfocused. The blonde suddenly snapped his attention towards Sakura, his eyes wide, searching for any threat. What happened? Naruto asked in shock, causing Sakura to scowl. Baka! You're our leader! What should we do? Sakura asked as Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Well, I'm sensing 8 guys coming our way, 7 Chunin and 1 Jonin, Naruto supplied before rummaging through his pouch. He handed 2 kunais to the trio, holding 2 himself. When those guys come, throw them somewhere near those guys. Not on their body, he instructed as the 3 nodded. The 4 kept moving ahead where the blonde kept sensing Gaara and Sasuke's chakras. In less than 3 minutes, they were confronted by the group which Naruto had mentioned, the leader getting a cocky smirk seeing the 4 kids. Look at Konoha go. They are sending 4 kids after that monster, the Jonin remarked, seeing Naruto ready his kunai. He drew his own to counter them, but was bewildered when the kunais landed just beside. You can't hit us with such a bad aim, he commented cockily. A gasp elicited from him, as Naruto disappeared, popping at the 8 kunais randomly, knocking out the ninjas with the punches in the torso or chops at the back of their necks. Only 3 seconds had passed before the whole party of 8 was unconscious. Sakura frowned, seeing that Naruto had kept them alive. Why aren't you killing them? She asked, making Naruto frown. I can't kill them. I believe Suna is being manipulated by Orochimaru into attacking us, Naruto replied, shocking the trio. I am pretty sure that Jichan and Jiraiya-sensei know that the Kazekage was actually Orochimaru. The negative emotions coming off him were the same as that day in the forest. So, it's safe to assume that Raza is dead. I seriously wanted to break his bones for treating Gaara like that. You were serious yesterday evening with Temari, weren't you? You seriously are troublesome, Shikamaru commented with a small smile as they went tree jumping again. Naruto, what happened on our way here? He asked in a whisper. Naruto scowled. The Kyuubi had called me in my mindscape and was lecturing me how naive I was to think that hatred and revenge could be stopped. I may have told him that he was naive, and to watch me as I made the shinobi villages truly peaceful, Naruto replied, making Shikamaru snort. Only you can say that to Abija's face, Shikamaru remarked. How are we going to deal with the troublesome guy up ahead? Naruto looked ahead. I have a plan, don't worry. I have given Shino and Sakura the seals to suppress Shikaku's chakra and his transformation. Even if he transforms, I can summon Gamabunta. Shikamaru rose a brow at being able to summon toads, but followed Naruto. Shikamaru winced at the state Sasuke was in. The doubt of failure wasn't present in Shikamaru's mind, trusting Naruto's suppression seals. Shino, distract Gaara with your Kikachu, Shikamaru ordered, the boy doing the same. A swarm of Kikachu started to distract and leech off chakra from Gaara. Leeching won't work, but Shikaku would be distracted by the Kikachu absorbing his chakra. Naruto quickly brought back Sasuke to the party of 4. Sakura, take Sasuke away from here. It's too dangerous for you to stay here, the blonde advised as Sakura nodded, knowing that she will only be a dead weight. Then let Sasuke-kun fight with you, Sakura remarked, making Shikamaru and Naruto scowl. He has barely any chakra remaining, and we are going against someone who has as much reserve chakra as half of my own chakra. You have already felt what my chakra can do, Naruto retorted harshly. And what I am going to do is going to anger Shikaku, so stay away. Sasuke glared at the blonde's boasting, but before he could retort, Shikamaru had caught Gaara in his shadow possession. The Nara clenched his teeth, feeling his jutsu being overpowered. He is overpowering my shadow possession jutsu, he thought, bewildered as Gaara broke free with a huge expulsion of chakra. By that time, Naruto had sent 4 Kage Bunshin away from their location to place the Hiraishin kunais for his plan. Seeing Shikamaru's jutsu getting overpowered, Naruto ran forward in a burst of speed, aiming for Gaara's transformed half. Naruto winced in pain as Gaara slammed the sand tail in his torso and sent the blonde flying into a tree. Shikamaru and Shino dodged the sand bullets sent their ways, making sure they didn't hit the idiotically sitting pair of Sakura and Sasuke. His defense was great first, but it's more hard to hit him now. Shikamaru, do you have any normal kunais? Naruto asked as he threw a few kunai of his own. Kunai Kage Bunshin, Naruto called out as the kunais multiplied into tens, embedded themselves at specific intervals around Gaara. Sasuke looked at Naruto as if he was an idiot. Dobe, how are you going to defeat him if none your kunais hit? Sasuke snarked. Naruto ignored the raven-haired boy, who got angered at being ignored. I have a whole set of 15. Do you need one? Shikamaru asked back, yet dodging another barrage of sand bullets. Naruto created a Kage Bunshin and sent it towards Shikamaru. Quickly taking kunai from the boy, the clone used its chakra to print an explosion seal on a piece of paper he had just brought from his pockets. Listen, I will teleport with you. Put this kunai at the base of its tail, Naruto instructed. Before Shikamaru could object, he found himself staring at Gaara's back. He quickly plunged the kunai at the base of its tail, before finding himself where he previously was. How does the teleporting feel? Shino asked as appeared beside him. The scene just changed from one place to another in a blink. Shikamaru answered before a resounding crash was heard. The two winced at Gaara's state after the dust settled. Naruto, what happened to the suppressor seals? The seal has already reached its limit. The tags won't work. Naruto shouted back as he stood over a branch above Gaara's crater, feeling a sharp spike of chakra, his eyes widening. He turned around, his face frantic. Run away! He exclaimed as he darted towards the 4 genins. Sasuke scowled, not wanting retreat from a fight. He looked as Shino and Shikamaru jumped away in Gaara's opposite direction. Dobe, I am not. The raven head was cut off as Naruto hauled him on his shoulder and dragged with Sakura him. Hey! Nara dash! Sakura was cut off by Shikamaru's furious shout. You dumb idiots! Right now Naruto is the only one who know what can happen next. Stop using your brains if you don't want to die. The pineapple-haired boy shouted furiously, shocking the others as he had never raised his voice. Shikamaru's fears were answered when there was a puff of smoke behind them which reached a few meters in the air. Everybody's eyes widened seeing a sand tanuki towering over them. They stopped some distance away from the released Bijou. The Ichibi is a tanuki? Shikamaru asked with a frown. I didn't know. I guess all Bijou are different animals, Naruto replied. Where are you, Uzumaki Naruto? Make me feel alive! Gaara shouted from atop the tanuki's head, the giant head itself turning. Is he in control of the Ichibi? Shikamaru asked in shock. No. Shikaku can only awaken after his Jinchuriki falls asleep, the fox answered within Naruto's mind. The blonde eyes widened in shock, before a small smile graced his lips. Thanks for the info, Naruto thought, hoping it would reach the fox. No and yes. Shikaku will awaken only after Gaara falls asleep, Naruto relayed the answer. Shikamaru nodded, knowing who had answered. The others thought Naruto knew this by himself. Shikamaru, Naruto and Sasuke narrowed their eyes as they saw Gaara perform some hand seals. Naruto readied his Hiraishin kunai, ready to flash himself and his friends to safety. They watched in confusion as Gaara's head fell forward, before the tanuki's eyes glowed yellow. Yes. I am finally free. Now where is that bastard Kurama's brat? Shikaku shouted. Shikamaru corrected it to somewhere between squeak and squeal. So your name is Kurama, eh? Naruto asked mentally. TCH. That damn tanuki can't keep his mouth to himself. And you still haven't earned a right to call me by that name, Naruto, Kurama warned. When Gaara had mentioned that the Ichibi's name was Shikaku, so I knew that you had one too. I didn't pry because if would have wanted, you would have gave it earlier, Naruto replied. Though calling you Kyubi feels weird now that I know your name. Are you scared, Kurama? Do you finally admit that you are weaker than me? Shikaku asked in glee, scanning the foliage. Naruto scowled as he felt Kurama's chakra grow unstable. You are angering him, Shikaku, Naruto murmured as he tried to rack his brain for ideas. I can summon Gamabunta, but the others are too close to me. Naruto, you said you planned to make a new seal for Gaara, right? Yeah. The Shursho Furin, for a symbol seal. It's a downgraded version that holds Kurama, Naruto answered Shikamaru's question. The other three looked between the duo in confusion, since Shikamaru knew who exactly Kurama was. Who is Kurama? Sakura asked with a frown. Forbidden to speak, Shikamaru replied before rubbing his chin in a thinking gesture. You said you can summon toads, right? Which is the largest you can summon? Gamabunta, the boss toad. He is as large as a bijou, Naruto responded. Summon him. Is defeating the only way to make a new seal for Shikaku? No. You can just whack that redhead back to consciousness, Kurama suggested. We need to wake Gaara up. Then, hold his weakened form down by shadow possession, while I make the Shusho Fuin, Naruto suggested as Shikamaru nodded. Sasuke clenched his fist seeing Naruto so causally talk about subduing and sealing a bijou. How stronger have you gotten in a month, Naruto? I should be the one who is stronger, Sasuke thought in anger. Found you. Shikaku suddenly remarked, before opening his mouth and forming a dark purple ball of chakra. That's Bijudama. The bijou version of your Rasengan. Or the Rasengan is the human level of Bijudama. You don't need to know the outcome if it hits you, Kurama remarked recognizing the technique. Then how do I dodge it? Naruto asked seeing the Bijudama's massive size. You can't dodge this, because it will hit Konoha, not that I care. Teleport it away to your Hiraishin markers, Kurama suggested having witnessed the technique firsthand. What is that? Shikamaru asked in fear seeing so much chakra concentrated at a single point. Something you don't get hit with, Shino replied before frowning as Naruto held his peculiar kunai between his two outstretched palms. Are you planning to teleport the blast away? Shikamaru asked. We can dodge if we want, but if that thing hits Konoha, everybody will die, the blonde explained shocking the four. I have a kunai directly below Shikaku, Naruto added as the said bijou let the Bijudama loose in their direction. The five watched in shock as the ball of chakra destroyed the forest in its path, speeding towards them undeterred. As soon as it reached Naruto, kanji spread from the kunai like tentacles, before the purple ball of chakra vanished. Sasuke watched in shock as a second later, the small ball exploded underneath the sand tanuki making it roar in pain. The blast caused two of Shikaku's limbs get blown away. Unable to balance the weight, the huge tanuki collapsed kicking up a lot of dust. That was amazing, Shino muttered under his breath. Shino, Sakura, Sasuke. Don't move from here, Naruto instructed as he flashed away to a kunai closer to Shikaku's fallen form. Sasuke clenched his jaw in anger seeing that Naruto single-handedly beat the monster, while he only got tossed around. Flashing closer to Shikaku, Shikamaru glared at Naruto. Warn me before flashing away, you idiot, he said with a scowl. It feels weird to suddenly find yourself in another place. Though how did you get so good within a month? He asked as they tree jumped towards Shikaku. Well, Kage Bunshin send back their memory after dispelling. 100 for 12 hours over a month is a lot of experience, Naruto answered smugly at the thought of being able to make so many clones. Shikamaru now really envied not being a Jinchuriki. The instinct suddenly screamed as a barrage of sand bullets came their way. The two scowled not happy that Shikaku was still awake. You will pay for that, Shikaku screamed before sending more sand-based attacks towards them. Naruto bit his thumb, before making 5 hand seals and slamming his palm on the ground. Kuchio's no jutsu, the blonde called out as smoke engulfed the area, before a towering red toad pinning Shikaku down with its weight. So you must be the new summon. What the hell is wrong with you blondes? Why am I again sitting over a bijou? Gamabunta screamed in shock finding himself pinning yet another bijou down. Sorry Bunta, but we need to wake Gaara up, and Shikaku is not cooperating, Naruto replied as he and Shikamaru navigated towards Gaara. For once Naruto was thankful that Gaara open body was at the level of his head. Wake up, Naruto started as he reared his head back. Gaara! There was a resounding thud, before the sand underneath Gamabunta crumpled, and Gaara crashed on the ground. The green eyes stared in fear at the two boys, backpedaling away, but found himself cornered on a humongous red toad. I won't let you erase my existence. I won't let you! I won't let you! Gaara rambled making Naruto frown. No one's going to kill you Gaara. I just need to fix the seal, Naruto remarked. Thought Gaara didn't respond to any of it. No. I will not get defeated. I won't allow you to erase my existence, Gaara rambled on. Shikamaru without wasting any moment, paralyzed Gaara with shadow possession. Naruto walked up to Gaara, cautious for any movement of sand. The blonde carefully crouched in front of the terrified Gaara. Shikamaru kept his complete concentration knowing that a single movement from Gaara and the two of them would end up dead. Gaara, there's no need to be scared. Alright, Naruto murmured. Let me patch up the seal real fast, so we can return back to your siblings, he said as he made a few hand seals. Sure Shofuin. Naruto almost lost consciousness at the sudden drain of chakra as soon as he touched his palm on Gaara's torso. He could barely make out Shikamaru's figure shouting, when he felt a searing pain in his torso. Looking down, he spotted a spear of sand through his stomach. He coughed out some blood which had entered his food pipe. I won't let you end my existence, Uzumaki Naruto. We are the same, still you side with those people who tossed you away. Still you defeated me. Gaara screamed in anger. Naruto felt the strength leaving his body, causing him to lean on the redhead. They aren't just any people to me, Gaara. They are my precious friends, who have made me who I am today. I became strong because I want to protect to the people who are precious to me. You have precious people too. Your sister Temari, and Kankuro. Both of them knew they had no chance of winning against us, but they still bought time for you to get away. Hatred doesn't give you strength, the desire to protect gives, Naruto murmured in a small voice. Shika, Tell Jiraiya-sensei to explain the Shusho Fuin to Gaara, he mumbled before collapsing at Gaara's feet. Naruto, GKI. Naruto, Gaara's legs trembled as he eyed Naruto's prone body. He had been the first one to win against him other than his father. He doesn't get power from hatred. He gets power because he wants to protect. Temari and Kankuro tried to protect me. Nobody has ever done that for me. How can someone be so forgiving after how the others treat us? Why do you still protect them? Because they are your comrades and friends, son, a feminine voice echoed in his mind, before he lost conscience due to the strain of the new seal. Hey! Naruto! Open your eyes, damn it! Gama-san, can you take us to the village hospital? Shikamaru asked the huge toad. Take that idiot and redhead and get on. Gamabunta replied as lowered his head for Shikamaru to jump up while using his hand to place Gaara alongside Shikamaru. Damn it, Naruto! You hopeless troublesome idiot! You better not die on me and others, Shikamaru thought as blood poured out from Naruto's wound. Temari awoke, with a start, the last thing she remembering Naruto attacking her and Kankuro. Kankuro! She shouted sitting up and looked around her. The said boy lazily brought up his free hand, the other hand being cuffed to a bed safety bar. She found one of her hands in similar state. Yo! So you're finally up? Kankuro asked jovially. Where are we? She asked her younger brother. The prison ward in Konoha Hospital where we make sure that the preparator doesn't croak out before being punished for her crimes. A powerful feminine voice sounded from the other end of the room. Temari gulped recognizing the woman, and the other unconscious shinobi around her. What happened? She asked in confusion. Well, Orochimaru killed Dad, stole his face and attended the Chunin exam finals as the Kazekage. Kankuro summed up their failure. We found you in the competitor's box unconscious. Kakashi had already warned that Naruto and Shikamaru weren't killing the Suna or Odo shinobi, just knocking them unconscious. So, we assumed that you had been knocked out by either. And you are a daughter of a former Kazekage. We can't just kill you. You are going to be transported to Ti soon, where they will happily help your stay while you are used as wager to make a new alliance with Suna. Tsunade summed up her side of story. Orochimaru scampered away after losing his arms to the Shiki Fuin used by the Sandaime. From what one of our shinobi said, even a second late, and Orochimaru himself would have went in the Shiki Fuin, Kankuro added, making Temari clench her fists. That bastard used us, didn't he? Temari asked while gritting her teeth. What possessed that idiot Raza to trust that snake of Orochimaru? Tsunade asked with a scowl. Temari shrugged. Because like Naruto said in his words that our father is a crackhead nutjob, Temari answered, making her realize that Naruto hadn't been mentioned. Where is Naruto? I don't. Tsunade was cut off when a wall of the room blew up, instinctively falling into a defensive. She was about to attack, when she saw the familiar face of Gamabunta with the prone Gaara and Naruto over his head. Tsunade-sama! Shikamaru shouted frantically. Help Naruto! He has lost a lot of blood. Tsunade's eyes widened in horror, before rushing forward to check on the blonde. A pit formed in her stomach seeing the fist-sized hole. Temari had stood up on her bed to check on Naruto and Gaara both. She too spotted the hole in Naruto's stomach. Naruto! She exclaimed in worry and fear. Shikamaru snapped his head and glared at Temari coldly, making the blonde girl flinch. Shut up, Shikamaru said in an emotionless and cold tone. He is in this state because of how you treated Gaara, and your idiocy to invade an allied village. Temari's eyes widened and flinched at the coldness from the Nara, before tears fell from her eyes knowing that the boy was right. Kankuro wanted to glare at the retort the boy, but stayed quiet knowing that he didn't have a right to do so. He trusted you that you wouldn't invade Konoha. He wanted to believe that Jiraiya-sama and Hokage-sama were just lying about the invasion, and he hasn't opened his eyes once since he was stabbed by Gaara after he fixed his seal, Shikamaru added in the tone shocking the two. He actually wanted to help him from the start. When the Hokage had said that they would help fix Gaara's seal, I thought he was bluffing, and Naruto too had said the same thing, and I had dismissed him as someone naive. But he actually Temari thought before burying her face in her arms to hide her tears. Tsunade quickly went to work, thanking Hashirama lecture to her while they fought. Without her grandfather, she doubts she would have stayed conscious after seeing so much blood. Shika! Don't kill me so early! I have survived worse, Naruto whispered in a frail voice. Temari looked up in shock, while Shikamaru's eyes darted back to the idiotically smiling blonde. I was tired because teleporting that Bijudama and making sure Shusho Fuin shaved off almost all of my chakra. I never thought fixing a botched seal was so tiring. How are you awake? Kankuro asked in shock. Naruto grinned back at him. I had suffered a similar wound when I was 5, just back then it was kunai, Naruto answered, making the others gape. Don't worry, I was loosening the hack Fuin all this time so that Kurama's chakra would help me in recovering. Shikamaru, Temari and Tsunade looked at him in shock. What would possess you to do so? Tsunade asked, linking that Kurama was the Kyuubi. Naruto's shit-eating grin widened. Well, we are even. He didn't threaten to kill me like the last time. We had a bit of ideals insulting, before he helped me with information when fighting against Shikaku. Oh yeah. Removed Gaara's previous seal. The Shusho Fuin will give Gaara access to Shikaku's chakra without Shikaku stomping all over his mind and will also allow him to sleep, Naruto explained. I just helped you because I wanted to teach that Tanuki a lesson on who's strong, Kurama muttered in Naruto's mind. You could have helped with Orochimaru in the Forest of Death. Didn't you want to show him who's the strongest? Naruto asked with a smile, making Kurama scowl behind the bars, but said nothing. You know, it still unsettles me that you talk so freely with that guy, Shikamaru remarked. Nah. He usually keeps to himself, and I can tune him out if he eats my brain enough. Though that night 12 years ago, Kurama confirmed Jiraiya-sensei's suspicions. He was controlled by a Sharingan, and that man's chakra wasn't present in the village ever, not to mention other than the Mangekyo Sharingan pattern. His entire chakra screamed Madara. That's what Kurama said. Naruto relayed the conversation he had with Kurama when he was loosening the seal. That's disturbing to say the least, Shikamaru remarked as Tsunade nodded. What happened to Orochimaru? Naruto asked tiredly, feeling his stomach almost healed. He lost his arms to Shiki Fuin. When Sensei used it to seal Hashiramaji-chan and Tobaramaji-chan away, Tsunade said sadly. I see. The old man used the Shiki Fuin. So, Orochimaru has lost all his ability to use jutsu since he can't mold chakra other than for summoning, Naruto muttered. Wake me up before Ji-chan's funeral, he whispered. And stop the old farts in the council from making any foolish decisions against Suna. Both of us were tricked by Orochimaru, he added before losing consciousness. He is a tough guy, isn't he? Though warn that brat I am not a weight used to hold down Bijou. Both he and his father have summoned me over a Bijou to hold it down while they seal it. Gamabunta said the last part in annoyance before reverse summoning himself. Tsunade, Shikamaru and Temari sighed in relief knowing that Naruto was okay. I need to go back. Shino, Sasuke and Sakura are in the middle of nowhere. We lost sense of direction when running away from Shikaku. Do you know who can help? Shikamaru asked sheepishly. Temari had started thinking that the two boys were geniuses, but seeing the Nara and the unconscious Uzumaki she reconsidered it. The funeral had saw everybody come to their beloved and the most long-serving Hokage's final parting. The Suna shinobi who had perished in the attack were to be given a funeral later. In the meantime, Tsunade had agreed to keep the Hokage seat warm for her nephew. Naruto had been comforting Konohamaru, both losing their grandfather figure. The only person in Naruto's life till Team 7 and the Rookie 9, Jiraiya, Tsunade and Shizen came in. Jiraiya, Tsunade, Shizen, Shikamaru, Choji and Kiba had stuck close to Naruto knowing how important the man was in Naruto's life. The blonde hadn't spoken a word to anyone since waking up on the day of the funeral. Later that day, he had found the boy lounging over his father's stone head. Naruto just glanced at Jiraiya acknowledging his arrival. It's ironic to think that all Hokages are inside the Shiki Fuin, with Kurama's in half, Naruto remarked. Did you get some other information about the Akatsuki? No. It seems only the Gobi and Han had made contact with them. Gamamaru-sama said that he felt the Gobi's presence completely disappear. Either both of them are dead, or someone has placed the Gobi in a seal which even prevents him to sense, Jiraiya replied. Did Kurama mention the Mangekyo pattern? He doesn't know. That Madara's Mangekyo was hid under a mask, and only in the right eye, Naruto answered. Sharingan in the right eye, Kakashi has in his left. Sasuke doesn't have Mangekyo. Itachi has in both, and he was a kid back then, so there's an unaccounted rogue Uchiha or someone who stole a Sharingan, Jiraiya commented. But only Madara knew how to control the Bijou because of his special Sharingan. There's no records of Madara having an offspring, neither him run off with one. So, how does this person know to control Bijou of all things? Who knows? Naruto asked out loud. But that guy was powerful enough to go against my father. A person who had flee on sight. An S-rank shinobi can't just pop up out of nowhere, Jiraiya-sensei. Well, we will have to trust my spy network for new information, Jiraiya commented. Are you fine? We know how much sensei was important in your life, he asked softly. Naruto smiled back. I'm coping up. It will feel weird to not see the person who raised me up again. Actually, if he wasn't there all those years ago, I would have just been some brat who causes problems around Konoha, or I may have just run away. It was because of his decision against the council wishes that he put me in the academy. That's where my life changed and I met all sorts of people, Naruto replied. I wanted him to be there when I became the Hokage. I wanted him to pass on the hat to me when the village finally acknowledged me. Jiraiya said nothing as he sat down next to Naruto. Tsunade had asked you and Shikamaru to come to her office, the Toad Sage informed. Apparently the council needs the accounts of what you and Shikamaru kid did. Just be careful with your words. And don't trust what Danzo says. Shikamaru's father, Shikaku, will be there to help you too, so I have deal with those old farts? Naruto snarked knowing how much they had ruined his childhood. Can't Bachan have her own council? Like you and Shikamaru's old man? Well, I can talk with her, Jiraiya remarked with a smile. Sensei had chosen them because they were his teammates along with Danzo. When I become the Hokage, Shikamaru's definitely up there. Then, you and Tsunade Bachan, Naruto responded before standing up. I have a feeling that this isn't going to go well, Jiraiya snorted. No meeting of mine or Minato's went well with them. Minato had put in Fugaku, Hizashi and Shikaku in his advisor council. You continue that tradition. She glared at a certain paper before signing it. It was the pettiest of documents, which should be handled by the trading commissioner, not the Hokage. She was going to have a word with the civilian council, after the trial. She sensed a presence behind her and scowled. Isn't there a door for this office? Why do you have to come through the window like Jiraiya? She asked, turning to glare at the blonde. The boy shamelessly shrugged. It is a drag to come through so many stairs when you can directly come in from the window, Naruto replied lazily before his face became serious. What should I say to those old farts? Tsunade snorted at Naruto's audacity. Just relay them the events, but be careful about that Danzo. He is alive because Sensei needed someone to take care of the village from the darkness. And he has quite a lot of power, Tsunade warned as Naruto nodded. Jiraiya Sensei too warned me about him, Naruto remarked. So, what is the meeting exactly for? I am sure Shika gave the mission report, Tsunade sighed. Not sure which of the old farts was it, but someone appealed that you were working with Suna because you made a new seal for Gaara, not to mention that you only knocked out the invading shinobi. My probable guess is Danzo. Naruto rose a brow, but smiled a little. What about Shikamaru? He is said to be your accomplice, Tsunade answered. What happened to the new terms of the alliance? Naruto asked. They started walking towards the hall where the trial would take place. Well, their Kazekage is dead, and the major candidates are our prisoners. Danzo wants to put Suna under Konoha's control. A few greedy merchants want to levy heavy taxes on their wares if sold there, while others are levying some ridiculous terms. So, it's a chaos right now. Even the three are being called up for their testimonies on your actions, Tsunade informed. Naruto sighed at the antics. Guess we will have to just get this over with. Naruto winced as the door to the hall opened, all the counselors shouting at each other on what punishment should be imposed on the Sand siblings, and their two shinobi if the latter are found guilty. Tsunade's eye twitched seeing that none of them had noticed them entering the room. Silence! She hollered loudly, making everybody shut up in an instant, a few sweating knowing the damage the woman could cause. Now, I need to know who appealed for the possible betrayal of Genin Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto and Naro Shikamaru, Tsunade grounded out. The three Sand siblings looked at the council if they were some proven lunatic idiots. The three knew very well that the two boys could have killed them and the Suna shinobi. Actually Genin Uzumaki Naruto, since there's no proof that the boy is related to the Yondaime Hokage, Namikaze Minato-sama, a counselor spat out. Tsunade rose a brow. I am his freaking godmother and aunt. Jiraiya is his godfather. Who else do you need? Tsunade snarked, making the topic's opposing faction shut up. Nobody answered my question? Danzo put his hand up. I am the one who made that appeal. Both of them were reported to only knock out the Suna shinobi, as well as making a new seal for Sabaka no Gaara, he answered calmly. Should have expected it, the blonde Konoha pair muttered under their breath. Genin Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, do you have anything to say? Tsunade asked formally. I knew about the invasion 2 weeks ago before the finals when I was with Jiraiya sensei. At first I thought that he was just bluffing, but he explained how his spy network had spotted Suna amassing their forces, as well as the Kazekage meeting with Orochimaru. Orochimaru's name convinced me that he wasn't lying. He paused as a few council members nodded, knowing that themselves wouldn't have believed that information if not for Orochimaru's name attached to it. From Jiraiya sensei, I knew that there are a few idiotic people in Konoha who were trigger-happy to go to a war. As soon as he said that, the shinobi faction smothered their sniggers, knowing who exactly was in question. After returning to Konoha, the first thing I did was to give an order for the custom Hiraishin kunais, knowing that a tri-pronged kunai meant death during the Third War. The next day, I had met Gaara trying to kill Lee, under Shikaku's influence. During that altercation I found that his seal wasn't even under the specification of the Bija seal. I am a Jinchuriki myself, and I am thankful that Tuchan made a seal that wouldn't let the Kyuubi to talk to me, unless I wanted to do. I can't imagine how Gaara pulled on for so many years under Shikaku's influence. That's where I had decided to make a new seal for him, a downgraded of my own Hakufuin, the Shursho Fuin. Since he is another village's Jinchuriki, I can't shut Shikaku's chakra supply off completely, and the key for the Shursho Fuin is with the toads for safekeeping along with my own Hakufuin. He paused, the information to sink in that neither of the two Biju could be released without the toads knowing. So, are you saying that you have the Suna Jinchuriki under our control? Danzo asked with his lips twitching upwards. Temari scowled at Naruto, promising him pain if he had the same thoughts. I never said that. If Gaara wants, he can use Shikaku's chakra to its entirety, but it will give the control of his body to Shikaku more he uses the chakra. Gaara and Shikaku are their own masters, Naruto answered with a smile. Though since it's a single seal, it won't increase your chakra capacity like mine. The Hakufuin was designed by my father by combining two Shursho Fuins. The gaps between the two seals shaves of the Kyuubi's chakra, purifying it and adding it to my own chakra. He paused as the shinobi faction rose their brows at the complexity of Naruto's seal. The same day of Lee's incident, I had given a sample of the suppressing tags to Temari and hint that we knew they were going to invade us, and we had measures to counter them. That's synonymous to betrayal, Koharu spoke up. Naruto glared at her and flared his chakra. The sudden crushing presence floored everybody, even Tsunade and Danzo. The others struggled to breathe, the pressure kicking out all the air in the lungs. Kankuro, Temari and Gaara knew that they had pulled off a real close one with the blonde. What's C chakra? That easily more than Shikaka 3 times over, Temari thought in fear as Naruto lifted his chakra. The only one unaffected was Shikamaru. Unlike you trigger-happy warhawks, I wanted to settle the dispute without bloodshed. So, I had planted a Hiraishin seal between the 2 layers of the suppressing tag, as a failsafe. I already knew that Gaara was Orochimaru's trump card, and that was risky because that could backfire in his face. So, if Gaara had ever lost control before what they had planned, Temari was sure to use the seal. That would notify me, and give time enough to make a new seal till Shikaku is suppressed. It was a win-win, Naruto explained. The shinobi faction nodded in agreement, agreeing with Naruto's damage control. Temari scowled at being used so blatantly, but she knew what Naruto had said that evening, the blonde had meant it. Danzo clenched his fist, knowing that the boy's damage control was flawless. I have other questions. A month ago, you were just a brat who didn't take his ninja career seriously. But now, you are a seal master as well as have Hiraishin under your belt. Yondaime-sama had need 4 years to make his own Hiraishin, Hamura remarked, making Tsunade laugh out loud. That brat used Kage Bunshin's memory to increase his training time. He did round about 8 years and a few months over of training in a month's time, Tsunade answered. I believe that's enough time to make Hiraishin and become a seal master. That is abuse of Kage Bunshin, Choza joked, making everybody laugh. I guess that clears any doubts of possible betrayal. If we don't forget, the pair saved Uchiha Sasuke along with Genin's Aburame Shino and Hirano Sakura, stopped a Bijudama from Shikaku to blow apart Konoha, defeat the said Biju, stalled and created a new seal comparable to the level of his own father. Tsunade, Shikamaru and Naruto sighed in relief. Temari smiled to herself, knowing that neither Naruto nor Shikamaru would be prosecuted for their actions. Danzo's hands curled in a fist, his plan failing to bring someone with the Hiraishin, and someone whose shadow techniques were powerful enough to subdue a Jinchuriki. Actually, I wanted to talk about the new alliance we are going to make with Suna, Naruto remarked, making everybody raise their brows in surprise. You aren't a clan head, or an elite jonin to have a say in that, Koharu stated, narrowing her eyes. Actually, I believe everybody has seen what he can do, and along with Shikamaru's strategy in the end, I believe both are ready for Chunin, Tsunade remarked as all the clan heads nodded. One by one all the clan heads raised their hands, knowing that Naruto and Shikamaru had indeed limited the damage that could have been caused. They had seen entire streets of Suna and Oto Shinobi flee away after Naruto, and his team passed on their way towards Gaara and Sasuke. Just a single demonstration of Hiraishin had struck fear in their hearts. Well then, from now on you are Chunins of the Konohagakure no Sato. As such, being an Uzumaki Namikaze, Naruto can participate in Shinobi Council meetings, the blonde woman remarked. You too can collect your Chunin vest later from my office. Naruto and Shikamaru bowed to her, before Naruto turned back to the council. Now I am free to put in my vote for the alliance, Naruto started and glanced at the trio of siblings. The 3 gulped, knowing that blonde could be very tricky. The shinobi side leaned in, interested to hear what the blonde suggested after the intelligence he had shown during the invasion. Let them go free. Silence reigned in the hall, clearly nobody expecting him to say such. Tsunade and Shikamaru gaped at Naruto, the trio of Suna thinking that the boy had lost it. The civilian council gaped at him, all their schemes going down the drain, but soon realized that nobody would agree with it. What do you mean? Shikamaru finally found his voice. Naruto gave a small smile. I meant what I said. Both of us were deceived by Orochimaru. In making the alliance, we are only thinking of us. The invasion only saw 1/10 of our shinobi forces going down. Suna has been reduced to half of their strength, with nobody to lead them. The reason why the Yondaime Kazekage had agreed to go with the invasion was because the Wind Daimyo had been giving his commissions to Konoha for long, thus decreasing the inflow of funds in Suna. If we impose any debt terms, the effect may not be immediate, but hatred will brew in Suna again at their hard-earned money going away, and the same will happen again over and over. It won't be long before one of the future Kazekage thinks the same as their Yondaime. Both of us are in shambles, and we were allied, weren't we? Why can't we help each other? All of us know that IWA is ready to jump on Konoha at any chance they get. I want to make peace in the elemental nations, and break the never-ending cycle of hatred. If we do nothing, this will repeat over and over and over and over again, taking lives of people we care. Many of you may have people of your clan. We lost our Sandaime-ji-chan, but Suna too lost more forces than us, along with their Kazekage. While making the terms to propose, tell me truthfully, weren't you thinking of exacting revenge for your clan members through the alliance terms? Naruto asked as the clan heads reluctantly nodded. I am not saying they aren't wrong, but we aren't right either. We would destroy each other in exacting our revenges. IWA is a prime example of it. The second and the third wars were incited to take revenge on Konoha. We often forget that in proving who is right, that war brings misery, death and sorrow on both sides. My father is said to have killed 1,000 shinobi single-handedly at the Kanabi Bridge. Has anybody thought about what would have happened if it was the other way around? Hundreds of sons, fathers, brothers, sisters were killed in less than 5 minutes. Now tell me, if those 1,000 were Konoha ninjas, would you have sat quietly? From what I have heard from Jiraiya-sensei, Tuchan never forgave himself for killing all those 1,000 shinobi. He said he used to keep having dreams of him and his comrades in the position of IWA shinobi, Naruto explained. Suna is known for mining of precious stone, which are rarity in the land of fire. They are the major suppliers of shinobi-grade steel, and shinobi-related steel products. We can work out an alliance on that. Everybody looked wide-eyed at the explanation, not believing what they were hearing. Danzo swore that the boy was more bigger idiot than all the previous Hokages combined. He cursed mentally as the shinobi side started to murmur among themselves about Naruto's suggestion. He was sure that the idea would be shot down immediately. I too support his idea. I know that Naruto won't ever think against Konohagaku's safety and peace, Shikamaru remarked. Shikaku merely rose a brow at that, before going back to discussing with his fellow clan heads. Temari wasn't sure with what to start. Gaara and Kankuro thought the same too. The boy was the biggest idiot they had ever seen, he had proved that, but they couldn't deny what Naruto had mentioned. The invasion had been because of the previous alliances. They wouldn't say that if a better opportunity came in the future, and their funds would be running low, they won't attack again. They too were sure like Danzo that this idea would be shot down. After a few minutes Shikaku stood up as the Jonin commander. The Shinobi Council, with an unanimous vote, has decided that we, the Nara clan head was cut off by Kankuro, are against the idea. We know that no village is going to let anybody down after attacking like that, Kankuro butted in with a scowl. Shikaku barked out a laugh. Well, you're a troublesome smart one, aren't you? I was saying that we were supporting the plan, the man stated with a smirk, taking in the shocked look on the civilian council, Danzo, Koharu, Hamura, Suna Trio and Tsunade's faces. What Naruto said was true. The terms we were putting in were worse than the original alliance, and it would have no doubt led to a repeat of this incident. It could have been greater in scale, lesser, who knows? We have seen an age where lands were plagued with war. We don't want our descendants to see the same. If we want to break this cycle, we need to change. We aren't forgiving for what you did, Inoichi said that while glaring at the three siblings. But there's no problem in giving a chance to repent yourselves. You two seem to know your mistakes, so we know that you won't take any rash decisions. Well, I guess that settles the alliance dispute. You three and your shinobi are free to go, Tsunade commented, still digesting that they had went ahead with Naruto's suggestion. Gaara was the one who first found his voice. As long as I breath, Suna is a sworn ally of Konoha. Naruto has shown the mistake in my ways, and that love is more powerful than hatred. I now know there are a lot of things to protect. Naruto showed me that, and the trust which you are putting in us is also one of those things. Gaara said with a bow bending at a right angle from his waist. The shinobi faction needed no more reassurance. Respect and assurance was oozing from his voice. Temari and Kankuro bowed alongside Gaara. You know, you should be thrown into a room with all the Kages and village leaders, Shikamaru remarked. Naruto looked at him as if the Nara had grown a second head. I share your sentiments there, son. But before that, Naruto needs to make his name known. Anoki and I aren't going to listen to anyone who can't defeat them. Minato is a good example of it, Shikaku commented as Tsunade nodded in agreement. Naruto walked to the Team 7 training grounds after returning from Tsunade's office with his Chunin vest. The Suna prisoners were going to be sent back 2 days later, while the new alliance based on the precious stones and shinobi-grade steel, it was going to be made a few days later after they discussed it with their own council. On the same note, Konoha's civilian council had made an uproar after Suna was let off free, worried for their Rio which they would have earned. Gaara had then shut them up, saying that the hidden villages were ruled by their Kage and shinobi, being a military extension of their respective daimyo, and not by civilians. Thus, the civilian council was to be only consulted for internal affairs, in peace times. During wartime, everything fell under the Kage's command. Kakashi-sensei. Sakura. Sasuke. Naruto exclaimed, spotting the three going through their daily routine. The silver-haired man looked up from his book, before I smiling at the Chunin vest on Naruto. He could have sworn if he hadn't seen Naruto on the day of the finals, he would have thought the person walking towards them was Minato-sensei. Sasuke scowled seeing the Chunin vest, angry that the class dobe had graduated to Chunin, but not him. He clenched his fist, vowing to surpass the blonde and kill Itachi. On the other hand, Sakura was happy that Naruto had been promoted, knowing how much he had done on the day of the invasion. If not for your whiskers, you look like your father, Naruto, Kakashi remarked, making the blonde blush at the praise. So, who else was promoted? Shikamaru. But Bachan can promote someone else too. We were promoted early because I wanted to talk about the alliance we were forming with Suna. Becoming a Chunin meant that I got the clan seat of the Uzumaki clan, Naruto replied as Kakashi rose a brow. Actually, I had heard rumors that you and Shikamaru were being tried for possible betrayal of Konoha, Kakashi remarked. It was Danzo who started it, and I shut that war hawk up, Naruto replied, shocking the other two that Naruto has just come back from his trial. So you talked about the alliance, right? What happened to it? Sasuke asked, disinterested. Suna is going free. They go 2 days later, Naruto informed, shocking Kakashi enough to drop his precious orange book. Say what? The three echoed together in shock. You heard it right. They have agreed to set the alliance based on precious stones and shinobi-grade steel supply, Naruto commented. Why would they do that? Suna invaded us. Sakura shouted in shock. Sasuke for once agreed with Sakura. Well, they were levying very heavy terms on Suna. I just told them what had compelled the Kazekage to go and invade Konoha, and forcing the alliance terms would only worsen things. After a small speech, the shinobi clans agreed to let Suna free, and Gaara, Temari and Kankuro agreed to stay loyal to the alliance no matter what, Naruto responded. I had a feeling you had to do something with it, Kakashi said with an eye smile. Sakura nodded, but trusted the judgment of the clans and the Hokage. Sasuke gritted his teeth. How strong have you gotten, Naruto? You convinced Suna to let free, and the clans agreed. You can't do that unless you are powerful. Have you surpassed Itachi, while I, who hated him with my entire being, is left behind moping with the scraps, he thought angrily. Naruto sensed Sasuke's anger, but said nothing. Kakashi-sensei, is there some training I should do? Kakashi smiled as he picked up and pocketed his book. Right now, if you master at least 2 chakra natures, you can be promoted to a Jonin. Seeing that you use your Kage Bunshin, it shouldn't be hard for you, Kakashi remarked. I don't want to rush, Kakashi-sensei. I have already rushed the last month with my Kage Bunshin, enough that I am a certified CO master. I increased my chakra control to acceptable levels. The hack Fuin messes with it, Naruto replied. Tsunade-bachan said that she will train me in chakra control after the things settle down. Even if you have Bija-level chakra reserves, that doesn't mean you should squander your chakra, that's what she said. You know, becoming a Chunin means that you won't do D ranks. And you can do B ranks too, Kakashi remarked. Did Jiraiya-sama tell you about the? Yes. That's the main reason I rushed through my training. The Gobi and Han disappeared. So we assume that they are capturing the weaker targets now. Else they strike all remaining 8 of us 3 years later, Naruto supplied before fishing out a book. He has made a list of all missing S ranks in this. Orochimaru was a part of that group, but later betrayed them. Right now, according to sources, they have 10 members. Apparently one of them is rumored to be the one who attacked Konoha 12 years ago on the night of October 10th. I heard from Jiraiya-sama. To think that someone is around able to control the Kyuubi with his or her Sharingan is fearing. There are more chances that this guy was never accounted for in Konoha, or has a Sharingan stolen from an Uchiha, though the latter is likely impossible, because if it is, then that person has more chakra than you, Naruto, Kakashi responded, which is highly unlikely or close to impossible. So, an Uchiha who isn't affiliated with the Uchiha clan or Konoha as we knew, Naruto remarked, making Sasuke scowl. You mean Itachi, right? Sasuke snarled in anger. Baka! Itachi was barely 5 when the Kyuubi attack happened, and I am sure nobody has awakened the Sharingan so early in the Uchiha clan, Naruto retorted, as Sasuke nodded, the scowl never leaving his face, not happy at that name being mentioned. Well, we should leave that to our spies, Kakashi stated lazily, before showing a paper to Naruto. Send your chakra through this paper, he instructed. Naruto accepted the paper with a raised brow, but did as his sensei had told him. The paper violently split in 2. Wind affinity? That's rare even in the land of wind. I think only Asuma and that girl from Suna are the ones whom you should talk with for this. I wouldn't recommend you, Danzo. Even if that old war hawk was the last person, I wouldn't go, Naruto grumbled. I guess I will talk to Asuma-sensei. Kakashi, can I have a paper too? Sasuke asked arrogantly. Kakashi clapped his hands. You need to increase your chakra control first, Sasuke. Naruto has enough chakra control to start learning change in chakra nature, whereas Sakura needs to increase her chakra reserves, Kakashi replied. Why again? Naruto again has something which is unique. Why am I getting left behind? 2 days later, all the clan heads, the Hokage, Jiraiya, Shikamaru, and surprisingly Hinata, bidding goodbye to the returning Suna shinobi. In the past 2 days, Baki had agreed to guide Gaara as the Godain Kazekage till Gaara learned how to do things. So, Gaara had been talking with Tsunade and Baki on the terms of the new alliance. Temari walked up to Naruto and Shikamaru. So, I guess this is a goodbye for now, she started quietly. Shikamaru shrugged with a yawn, still sleepy. Temari facepalmed at the Naruto's behavior. Is he ever motivated about something? She asked Naruto. The blonde scratched his cheek in embarrassment. Well, he is trying hard to become an advisor for when I take the hat. I don't think he trusts me to not pull off something dangerous, he answered and was met a bop on his head. You almost died against Shikaku. Of course, we don't trust not to go and kill yourself, Temari scolded. Naruto grinned at that. I ain't dying till I become the Hokage and bring peace to the elemental nations. Naruto exclaimed with a wide grin. I will take you on that, Naruto. Though I would have liked if both of us were the Godain Kages of our respective village, Gaara remarked. Naruto smiled at the redhead. Is the seal well? He asked the Ichibi Jinchuriki. I didn't hear his voice once, though I will try to create peace with him once the alliance is settled. I can't thank you enough for what you have done, Naruto, Gaara said with a smile and a bow. You are a friend of mine, Gaara. We were connected far before you even came to Konoha, you know, the blonde remarked with a grin. We should be going now. We got a message that Suna is in a bit of chaos since all major candidates for the Kazekage position were captured, and we will take your warning about Akatsuki seriously. 10s rank shinobi don't come together unless there's someone more powerful than them. I will issue a flea on sight if we spot any person with black cloaks and red clouds on it, Gaara said to Tsunade and Jiraiya. We will be expecting a reply soon, Kazekage Dano, Tsunade replied. After the Suna shinobi had started leaving one after one, Jiraiya suddenly stepped forward and gave an orange book to Gaara and Kankuro. Everybody who recognized the book paled in shock. Tsunade guessed that the pervert hadn't given it to Temari, seeing her fiery nature. Kankuro had looked at the book, skeptically eyed the book, deciding to read it later. Gaara, on the other hand, had already opened the book in curiosity. Naruto paled whiter than a sheet. Ero-sennin. What are you doing? Gaara, Class, Naruto stopped as Gaara raised his hand and closed the book. Kankuro, give me your book, Gaara ordered with a smile. The boy fearfully gave, realizing Gaara was angry. Sand burial. In an instant, the books were crumpled beyond recognition, shocking Jiraiya. Jiraiya-sama, if I spot any of those books in Suna bookstores, I will forget that you a ninja of an allied village. I can assure you, bounty hunters and hunter-neens with a capture-alive bounty, Gaara warned as his shadowed his eyes. Serves you right, Ero-sennin, Naruto piped up, causing many people to smother sniggers at the nickname. That's an apt nickname, Naruto. Though I would prefer if you don't call him that, Gaara remarked. I call him Ero-sennin when his goofs around perving at hot springs, Naruto replied, making Temari glared at the white-haired Sannin. Gaara smiled a little. Till we meet again, Naruto, he said before turning to Kankuro. The said boy got the hint. I can't thank you enough, Naruto. You brought the three of us back together. After all that shit we went through, Kankuro said with a small bow. It's nothing, Kankuro, Naruto remarked before smirking. Though I would prefer if you wouldn't wear a cat suit, he added, making the boy look up and scowl. It's a battle suit, not a cat suit, Kankuro snarked, making everybody laugh. Well, that was a reliever, Temari said suddenly. Before we go, Temari trailed off, glancing at Naruto. The blonde craned his head sideways in confusion, Kankuro and Gaara to not realizing what Temari meant. Before the blonde could comprehend, Temari had come up to him and kissed him on the cheek, before she ran away hiding her own red face. Naruto froze in shock, his cheeks reddening. Shikamaru's eyes flew open, while Kankuro gaped at the scene. Jiraiya's hands had been dislocated by Tsunade before they could reach his notepad, the woman too sporting a small smile. Some of the clan heads turned their heads away, while the others whistled. The only one unaffected was Gaara. Gaara paused as Naruto fainted, his face still red. Interesting, Kankuro completed under his breath. Only Shikamaru didn't miss the tears which fell from Hinata's eyes. Shikamaru sighed as he exited the Hokage's tower, just having completed a solo C rank. Naruto and Team 7 had been sent on a 4-day-long C rank, the blonde hiding his red face after the event which went that the same morning. He shook his head, before making his way towards where Team 8 trained. He needed to have a conversation, before something terrible happened. Shikamaru sighed, seeing Hinata's lifeless eyes, Kiba, Shino and Kurenai eyeing her in worry. Kiba's nose found Shikamaru first, greeting him with a feral grin. Shino and Kurenai trailed Kiba line of sight to find a dead serious Shikamaru. Something's the problem? Kurenai asked with a frown. Shikamaru glanced at Hinata, was all the telling that the trio needed. Something happened between her and Naruto, Shikamaru started, causing Kurenai to scowl. I am going to have a talk with that brat. What did he do, Hinata? Kurenai asked with a scowl. Shikamaru shook his head. You must have known Naruto and Temari came quite close in the 2 days before the finals. Just before the Suna shinobi left, Temari boldly kissed on Naruto's cheek, causing him to faint. Shikamaru relayed the events, causing Kiba to give a whistle. And Hinata saw that, Kurenai guessed, making Shikamaru nod. I just wanted to talk to Hinata before some terrible decisions could be made, Shikamaru informed. She has the dead look in her eyes since she came. And she isn't talking to us, Kiba informed. Shikamaru closed his eyes, thinking of some way to break through Hinata's shell. I have seen that Hinata is quite nervous around Hayashi-san. Why? The Nara asked with a frown. You know Hinata's gentle nature, right? Kurenai asked as the trio nodded. You can say that she hates fighting. The last time I had met Hayashi, he had said that Hinata was a disappointment, and how her younger sister by 5 years defeated her for the title of the clan heir. And there was Niji. Though he has been good to Hinata lately, Kurenai informed. I don't need to say why I support Temari and Naruto, he said, glancing between Kiba and Kurenai. The only one among us who can understand Naruto the best, the Sand siblings. Because of Naruto's you know what, Kurenai and Kiba nodded behind the logic. When I scoured the previous records around something which Naruto slipped on the day of the invasion, only those three have an idea of what Naruto has dealt with. 2 murder attempts before he turned a month old, one on his 4th and 5th birthdays, one on the night of Genin graduation, Shikamaru informed, shocking the trio. You should understand why, Kurenai-sensei. Kiba. I have a way to make Hinata realize that why she shouldn't do anything between Temari and Naruto by herself. Just don't come in between, because she needs this. I trust you, just don't break her more, Kurenai warned as Shikamaru nodded stiffly, before walking over to Hinata. The three watched from behind a bush where Hinata had been training by herself. Hinata, I wanted to talk about this morning, Shikamaru started softly, making the girl turn around. About what, Shikamaru-san? Hinata asked, knowing that the boy had been present during the event. I know you admire Naruto, in fact you love him. Shikamaru started as Hinata blushed at that. I will tell you simply. Give up on him. Behind the bushes, Kiba instantly grabbed Kurenai's arm before she could attack Shikamaru. Let me go. Kiba, Kurenai hissed in a dangerously low voice. Kiba shook his head. Let him be. Shikamaru know what he is doing, Kurenai-sensei, Kiba stated firmly. Kurenai glared at Kiba. If Hinata becomes more depressed, I will make sure that you and that brat soul fear me even in a vicinity of a kilometer, Kurenai promised. That will not happen, because he is Shikamaru for a reason, Kurenai-sensei, Kiba replied. Kurenai just grunted. Hinata's brain seemed to not catch up with what Shikamaru just said. I said give up on him, because you have no chance. Hinata rose a brow at that, completely different for her nature. What do you exactly mean, Shikamaru-san? You want to make Naruto notice you, right? Shikamaru asked as Hinata meekly nodded. Why would he? He is the son of our Yondaime Hokage, godson to 2 of the Sannin, great-grandnephew of the first 2 Hokages. Someone who can gather an even larger fan club than Sasuke at the academy. Shikamaru started making Hinata wonder where Shikamaru was going. On the other hand, why would he look at you? You are someone whose own father thinks as of a disappointment. Her own younger sister surpasses you when she is 5 years younger, and are mostly going to be cast into the branch house. Even if you somehow catch Naruto's eye, what do you have? Your gentle nature, and your beauty. Nothing else. Am I wrong? Hinata looked down as tears fell in her lap. And no, she whispered sadly. But what ssh should I do? I'll love him, Hinata confessed. Shikamaru snorted. On what basis? He just saved you once? Shikamaru asked coldly, causing Hinata to flinch. Or his never giving up nature? He asked in the same tone. Have you ever thought why Naruto has been hated by the whole village until the finals? He had a very bad habit of playing PR pranks? Hinata asked as sobs still racked her body. Stay in that delusion, Hinata. If you would have really loved him, you would have known that there was an attempt on Naruto's life. Twice. Before he was even a month old, Shikamaru said in an annoyed tone. Hinata gasped loudly at that. Now can a barely month-old baby pull off pranks? And no, if you would have loved him, you would have been there when there was another attempt on the night of our genin graduation, he said coldly. This came as another shock to Hinata. Let me put it in blunt words. You don't deserve him, Hinata sulked, before looking up. Okay, as you say, maybe I don't deserve him, Hinata said calmly without stuttering. That put Shikamaru as well as the trio in the bushes on edge. Then what gives Temari the right to deserve him? She shouted in anger. She and Naruto met for the first time just before the Chunin exams. Naruto was missing for a whole month, then they spend 2 days together, and she deserves him. Why? She asked as she grabbed Shikamaru's Chunin vest. Shikamaru removed Hinata's hands from his vest gently. The only one who knew where Naruto was during the month of absence was her. She could have reported to Sandaime-sama, or told her own father and Orochimaru about his location. They would have happily killed Naruto because he could spell major problems against Gaara. But she didn't. You know why? Shikamaru asked as Hinata shook her head in denial. She noticed the look in Naruto's eyes. Yesterday she mentioned it. It was same before Gaara went to how he was when the exams started. She said that Naruto looked like someone who could lose his sanity any moment. Even though she had just met, she didn't want someone innocent to lose their sanity like her brother. She said she saw that spark of hope lit up in his eyes when Jiraiya-sama came. Where were you during this? If you followed him sometimes, you should have seen that. I know that if it weren't for Temari not reporting this, Konoha would be in shambles now, all of us in Afterlife. The trio behind the bushes gasped at the revelation. Hinata wasn't sure what to say. Shikamaru looked at the Hokage monument, with a sigh. I have no right to say about this, because I too once abandoned Naruto as a kid, so that I wouldn't be isolated by my peers. I was ashamed when he happily came up to me and said that he understood how it felt to be alone, and that it was fine to leave him alone by himself. The one who understand Naruto among us the most are Temari, Gaara and Kankuro. We don't have an inkling of a feeling of what Naruto has suffered, but those 3 know exactly how he feels just by the look in his eyes, Shikamaru said softly. Hinata didn't know why Shikamaru said that Temari understood more about Naruto than anyone else. You said you wanted to abolish the caged bird seal in your clan, right? You wanted to unite the 2 branches of the clan. Temari had said something good when the invasion had just broke out. If you want to force your ideals, you need to have strength. Naruto has enough strength to make the entire council convinced to let Suna off for free. Can you say that you are powerful enough to bring change to your clan? He asked as Hinata shook her head sadly. You and Hanabi are very close, right? Hinata nodded again. Your father and uncle were once the same too. Tuchan said that when they were your age, they both wanted to abolish the caged bird seal. Hinata looked at Shikamaru in shock. She hadn't known that, and you know where that got them. If you want to abolish the seal, you need to defeat the clan council, and they won't listen to someone as weak as you. Maybe after Hanabi becomes the clan head, you can be cast aside by her. Who knows? You are close now. Konoha and Suna were allies too. Suna jumped the chance with Orochimaru. What's to say that Hanabi won't jump such a chance in the future? Shikamaru asked. I mean, you are even a disappointment to her by then if she does that. You have nobody then. Tell me, this is going to happen if you stay like this. Or you may just be used as an alliance broker between Hyuga and some other clan. So, are you going to stay moping like this behind a childhood crush? Or you are going to help Niji, and abolish the caged bird seal? The whole time Hinata listened to Shikamaru quietly. But nobody insulted her sister. Shikamaru smirked, sensing killing intent from Hinata. He dodged a wild juken strike from her by stepping sideways. I don't care what you say about me. But don't you dare insult Hanabi! She shouted in anger before attacking Shikamaru again in fury. The Nara kept dodging all the wild strikes from the Hyuga girl, often redirecting the strike which he couldn't dodge. He dodged another set of strikes, before gripping Hinata's arm, and twisting it behind her back. I caused the girl to fall on her knees. Wildly attacking isn't going to help you. Go home and clear your head. Then tell me tomorrow, what is important to you? A simple petty childhood crush and stay weak, or the happiness of your clan which has looked after you since you can remember and become strong? Shikamaru asked coldly, before releasing Hinata and walking away. For me, my father's approval and Hanabi and Niji's safety are more important. Nothing comes before that, Hinata shouted at the retreating figure, before realizing what Shikamaru was doing. You said all that purposely, didn't you? She asked without a stutter. Shikamaru turned back with a smile. You can become strong, only when you have something to protect. Naruto's words. Go home. Niji's waiting for you with a special surprise, and tell your idiotic father to believe in you. Naruto's troublesome audacity is rubbing off me. I can tell you this. You can surpass even Niji, both Niji and I believe this. I'd better tell this to your cousin, before he kills me for making you cry. Niji and I-san is on this? Hinata wondered out in shock. I will go home. Thank you, Shikamaru-san. Shikamaru waved his hand before disappearing in the direction of Nara clan compound. That brat planned all this, didn't he? Kurenai asked Kiba. The Inuzuka boy snorted. That guy has a plan Z for a plan A, Kiba replied amusedly.